unapologetic, unadulterated, uncompromising, and the true anonymous. This is the blackchannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And we're glad to have you all here with us this evening. Even though there are some folks who are not here for the reasons they claim they are. And that should be shameful and a disgrace to all of us, by the way. Absolutely a disgrace. But we're a people who need to relearn the definition of disgrace and exactly why these things are. And that's why you're here. Now, there's something that you'd rarely ever hear on this broadcast. You rarely hear the word me, my, I, myself, I did, I was. You don't hear things like that. Because I've never been about me. I've never been about Jason Black. I've been about why we're all here. I've been about the mission. I've been about the purpose. I've been about the cause. I have not been about myself. Oh, but we are among an egotistical people today. We are among an egotistical people. And what our people crave more than anything else on earth, more than the breath of life, our people crave and demand attention, affirmation. We have totally, completely abandoned the concept of power, wealth, and influence altogether, and everything that we do is dedicated and aimed toward getting attention for ourselves. We could give a damn about survival. Who cares about survival? It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about what I'm doing. It's all about what I want. We have become a people who don't need results. Or the only result that we're looking for is ego. As long as somebody is talking about us, we consider our wages paid in full. Why do these white companies even bother giving us money? Why? Hell, we're the only people on earth that money is worthless to. We would rather just have a pat on the head from the boss and to have his attention. That's what we want more than life. More than anything. There is no rush, no stampede, no demand for empowerment. It's simply not there. The only thing that we want is for somebody to acknowledge us. And then we can go around to the other weak black people and say, see, I might not have no money, might not have no car, might not have no house, might not have no shoes on my feet, but I gets me's attention. And yous can't gets yous none. That's the dynamic that we're experiencing and living through today. That's what we're seeing. And we have wall to wall, generation after generation of poverty because of it. Now, I'm not going to go into salacious detail about this. I'm not going to do that. But earlier today, as I was perusing through my social media and everything else like that, this morning, dear brother of ours, dear brother of ours, and this brother, C-Mac, is SOBO140 on Twitter. This brother has just been, I mean, he has been relentless promoting 7 a.m. Absolutely. If you don't know about 7 a.m., it's not because you didn't hear about it. Because he has done more than any human being you can name to make sure that this thing is out there everywhere. If you're on Twitter, you've heard of 7 a.m. because of him alone. Because of him by himself. Well, one of the folks that he sent a message to, and I'm not going to say any names, but one of the folks that sent a message to, they responded to him by making some disparaging comments about people in the movie. They responded with some profane language and whatnot about people in the movie. Now, I have never allowed and don't anyone to use the term militant and me. Those are not terms that are permitted in these circles. Because you're either black or you're not. There's no such thing as militant. You're either about black empowerment or you're not. But there's a problem in black society, and the problem is that Negroes grandstanding, making gestures, making these grand, voluminous, ostentatious gestures that ultimately don't result in anything, by the way. They're hoping that nobody actually asks them, okay, you did all that, and what changed? They're hoping that the fact that they made some type of egotistical gesture, or let's just refer to them as monkey shines. They go around making these grand presentations and monkey shining everybody. And what they hope is that that will somehow gain them credibility. I monkey shined all these people over there. I want credibility for it. I want credibility for my ability to monkey shine. I don't have to actually produce anything. These folks want to grandstand and monkey shine with guns. And they want to talk about shooting people and how they are going to violently overthrow the government. Brothers and sisters, you have to learn. You have to accept it in yourselves. You have to take the initiative to accept. Without me having to say anything to you, you have to take the initiative to accept that if a Negro jumps up in front of all of you talking about he's going to overthrow the richest, most resourceful, most powerful military, not on earth, but in the history of man, that him and a couple of his local neighborhood ne'er-do-wells posing with a couple of guns, that is overthrowing or an affront to the government. Now, do you notice they take selfies of themselves? And I'm not going to say any names. I'm just going to say, you notice they take selfies of themselves. That's what these people like to do. They take selfies of themselves. Now, they don't take selfies of themselves in front of the New York Police Department. They don't take selfies of themselves in front of the Los Angeles Police Department with their guns. They didn't go to Staten Island and take pictures of themselves in front of the police with their guns. They didn't go to LA and take pictures of themselves in front of the police with their guns. They didn't go to the Ferguson courthouse and the Ferguson police department and take a line and stand off with the police. We all saw CNN, and you saw the line of police at the police station. You didn't see these individuals, any individuals, walk up to the Ferguson police department. They were right there. That was the time. That was the moment. They were right there. And you didn't see anybody stand in a line, single file, against the single file of the police with their guns. You didn't see that. You had a bunch of Negroes hiding out in their neighborhoods, making claims that they did things. But you never saw them for all this talk of what they're gonna do and what needs to be done. All of this talk about how they got these guns because they're ready for the revolution. And yet, at no point does the revolution ever get kicked off. At no point do you see them amassing resources for the revolution. At no point do you see them doing any of that. Why? Because it's empty talk. And it's empty talk because guns are not how you win a revolution. Why? Because white supremacy's strength, the foundation of white supremacy's strength, isn't its guns. The source of white supremacy's power is not its armament. The source of white supremacy's power is its economy, its finance, its money. Money is the foundation of white supremacy's power. It always has been. It is the money that provides the guns, not the other way around. The guns are just the tools that keep you physically in line. When you decide to revolt, it is the money that oppressed you in the first place. The guns just make sure you stay there. But you cannot stop the guns without an economy. You cannot stop the guns without the money. And everybody wants to sit up here and throw up their arms and strut like a peacock and make all these broad, grand gestures, empty as they can be, because they are trying to deflect and distract all of you from the fact that with all this damn props he's got set up here and all this damn egotism he's displaying and all these gestures and all this monkey shining, at no time did he state to you how he's going to execute anything he just said. Now, why is it none of you are asking that? Because when you come to the Black Channel, we spend nothing but 2 and 3 and 4 hours a night talking about what we're going to do and how it gets done. You talk to them, they tell you what they plan to do in a make-believe sense, but then they never explain to you exactly how it's ever going to happen. They never say to any of us how they're going to accomplish that. Okay, you got a bunch of guns, which, by the way, your guns ain't very much, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there for you. I mean, it's not like you're all with a bunch of AR-15s. I mean, consider, let's do a comparison right quick, okay? You've got your local beatniks for attention, your gluttons for attention, talking about they gonna take on the cracker. And, ooh, take a look, I have a pump shotgun. Ooh, we're all impressed over here. Now, let's take a look at the guys you claim you're going to square off against. Let's just take a look at them. Now, your police department is armed with .40 calibers, Glocks, Berettas. Now, this is in one police car, by the way. If any of you have ever seen a police car on the inside or the trunk of a police car, you know that a policeman has got 2 guns, at least, and a shotgun in the trunk of his car, with enough shells to fight a war. Now, these Negroes are going to walk up on him, and in practically every police department in America now, it's mandatory that they wear bulletproof vests. The bulletproof vest has now become a standard part of the police officer's uniform. They all got AR-15s, which is the civilian version of the M16. So these Negroes with their pump shotguns are going to be going up against AR-15s, Glocks, 40 calibers, and pump action assault shotguns, by the way. These are not regular shotguns. These are shotguns made specifically for police departments. And for those of you who work in law enforcement, you can tell everybody that the shotgun you purchase down at your local pawn shop is not the same as the shotguns that police and riot police carry. It's not the same armament. But don't expect the idiots out there taking selfies of themselves to post up in front of the world. Don't expect them to explain that to everybody, why you can't win a gunfight with the police department, because you didn't bring the same type of weapons they got. But I digress. I'm just ruining their little fantasy here. I digress. So he's armed with guns. He's got a bulletproof vest. He's ready for you. And you are going to walk up on him with your bare hands, your naked chest, and a gun with maybe 5 shots in it. Maybe. He's going to take you and everybody else you got down with you. But that's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. They are never going to shoot any of these people. You see, back when Huey Newton was alive, the Black Panthers got in the shootouts with the police, and you know how we know they got in the shootouts with them? Because Black Panthers got killed, and cops got killed. So we know what the Black Panthers did. They confronted the police. They confronted the police with their guns. When was the last time that you heard of one of these so-called militant Negroes with their guns claiming that they're Panthers or anything else? When was the last time we heard about one of them getting shot? I'll wait. Since some of these folks want to try to set themselves up as arbiters and standard bearers and going to be the authority on blackness and what black folk need to do, when was the last time any of you ever got shot by the police, got into a shootout with them? When was the last time that any of you took a body or had a body taken? So that we can see that, okay, yeah, you folks are serious. Y'all are doing work. When was the last time you heard of any of these people who have ever gotten to a confrontation like that? When? Not your damn selfies on Twitter. When's the last time you can show us that you did something? When? Show it to me. Show me when any of you have ever been in the slightest bit of danger. You got your guns supposedly so you can confront the enemy, and yet you can never show us when you've ever been in harm's way. Ever. Never. I walked outside my house with my gun. I was in harm's way! The cracker be watching me! Police department right down the street. I ain't going out there! You let them come to me! This the art of war! And as a people, we accept frauds like that. We accept outright phonies and frauds. All you gotta do now is get together 3 other deadbeats. Take a picture of yourselves with guns, post it up on Twitter, and you're telling people that we're ready for the revolution. Ain't stopped the police from killing nobody and haven't avenged the death of anyone. But you got your guns and you're getting something done. Other than taking selfies, we can't see nothing, but I guess that is the response to police gunning us down. Police gunned down 3 black men. You go take pictures of yourself with a gun. I guess we can call that even, huh? I guess we can call that even. Show me the police department that's afraid of these people. I want to know that. Somebody show me the police department that doesn't go into their neighborhood because they're there. Show me the police department that won't come in their hood because they got it locked down. Show me. I want to see it. I want to know. Show me the folks who got the game locked down to the point that the police don't mess with them. Show it to me. I want to see that. I don't want to hear any wild fairy tales about we confronted white supremacists once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away. Because we ain't got no proof of it. I want you to sit up here, if you're going to sit up here and try to tell us that this is the way to go and that capitalism is the problem, I want to see your alternative in action because I can show you mine in action. I want to see yours in action. Show me your alternative in action. I want to see that. But we don't have to worry about that, brothers and sisters, and the reason we don't have to worry about that is because it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. MS-13 has neighborhoods locked down in LA, locked down in East LA, locked down in Southern California, locked down in Texas. Is this thing on? MS-13 has got whole blocks locked down. Police won't go there. Police won't enter. Show me where your pro-black militants got a house locked down. Show me where the police will not even come down this street because they know you're there. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it. You see, in other communities, they laugh people like that out of the room. They laugh them out of the room. Show me where these people are sitting up here and got law enforcement agencies clocking them. They don't. And that's because the local police giggle and laugh at you because you ain't doing nothing. You're sitting up here on social media posting up selfies. That ain't a damn threat to white supremacy. I'm just pulling the damn cover off of your lies. You're not a threat to white supremacy. You never were. You're not now. And you never will be. And that's why they don't mess with you. That's why they don't mess with you. Don't talk to me about militia groups. Black folk don't have a militia group. Have you actually watched white supremacists and their militias? Have you ever seen that? Have you seen that? Have you actually taken a look at them and seen that? Have you actually seen what in the world they do there? Have you actually seen the caliber of people that they have? Have you actually seen the caliber of people that they have there? And that would be the kind of thing that would make you say, Because you see, in the white militias, most of those guys are ex-military. Those guys are ex-military. And because they're ex-military, they don't sit up here and look at a gun and want to masturbate intellectually. They got their guns and they're remembering how many Afghans they killed, how many Taliban they killed, how many Iraqi Republican Guard they killed. They didn't go down to the gun range and post up a damn selfie. These are people who've done acts that would get them arrested here in the United States. And they proved their bones in a war zone somewhere. And they come back here and you think your little Pookie and Ray Ray and Demarius nephew scares them? They're sitting up here laughing at you. You got a damn pump shotgun. And he's like, do you know how easily I could disarm you? I don't even need a gun to kill you. I don't even need one. He can look just at the way you hold your weapon. He can look just at the way that you are holding your weapon. And he will be able to immediately tell that you don't know what you're doing. He will be able to immediately tell from the way that you hold your weapon that you and he are not on the same level. He will immediately be able to tell that you and he are not on the same level with these armaments. He's going to be able to see that you're playing at this and he's serious about it. That he knows what to do. Because you're shooting and not hitting nothing. He's like, I'm only going to need one shot to finish this. Just one. Just one. You see, they actually have to have qualifications to be a part of what they're doing. You have to actually qualify because you go up to them talking about, oh, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. They want to see what the hell you got. They want to see what the hell you got. Because they're not going to be impressed by somebody who's still learning. They want real soldiers. People who actually know what it takes to take a body. Not some local hard-head juvenile miscreant. With his 3 baby mamas in tow. Fantasizing to himself that simply the material physical fact that he's holding a gun qualifies him as some type of soldier or some type of dangerous. That's what in the hell these guys are looking for, because they want to make sure that when their back is to the wall and their life is on the line, that they're not going to have to worry. Now we have a caller on the line who wanted to speak to me very badly. Hello, Red.
Yeah, I didn't actually want to speak to you very badly.
Yes,
wanted
you
to
did.
Speak to me, so I called in and I'm here.
Yes, you wanted to speak to me. You had so much to say earlier. Once you start saying a lot in the chat room.
Much to say.
Once you start saying a lot in the chat room.
MS-13. I live in MS-13 hood. That's all I'm talking about.
Once you have a lot.
Hood. You bringing up MS-13. That's the only thing I commented on. That wasn't the topic of what you were talking about, but since you want me to call, I'm here. Okay. I'm not intimidated by anybody in this group.
What does MS-13 stand for? You feel me?
Mara Salvatrucha 13.
Okay.
From El Salvador.
That's very good. Most people are too dense to even know what MS-13 stands for. Now, if you live in that neighborhood,
I'm not.
If you live in that neighborhood, this is your opportunity to educate everybody about how the police treat Mara Salvatrucha.
I can tell you from personal experience, I've come home late nights when I first moved here and saw them rounding up and pulling out like in handcuffs, chained like slaves, like 6 members of Mara Salvatrucha out of my apartment. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I've never seen nothing like that in my life. But MS-13 is definitely, they the most dangerous gang out here. But the injunction that I mentioned in the chat room, which I guess Johnny didn't like, and that's why he told me to call, and I called because I ain't intimidated by nobody, so I called. That injunction happened, I think, within the past year and a half. And since then, MS-13 hasn't been that active. And since then, it looks like they stepped up gentrification in my neighborhood. So now we got more white people out here. It's a lot safer than it was when I moved here. And that's the only point I was trying to make.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
what you're saying is that MS-13 is not actually as active in your neighborhood as they once were.
Well, they might be, but they're way more underground because they have to be because the heat is on them more than any other gang in LA right now.
Okay,
And that's
well,
why I see tagging. I see tagging from other gangs out here now, and that never happened before. Before nobody else tagged around here. I mean, MS-13 they still tag too, but other gangs tag here now.
okay,
That says a
so,
lot.
well, I guess that would say a lot. Who else is tagging out there now?
I mean, I don't know gangs like that. I just know MS-13 because this is their neighborhood. But I've
Okay,
seen some red, so I assumed there was some Bloods. And I've seen a couple other Latino gangs tagging. So far I've seen like one Blood set, and probably like two other Latino sets. And I know they had a brief beef with like this other Latino gang called the Hollywood Boys or something like that. I don't know if that's still going on. Like, I don't really know what's going on. I'm a nerd. I'm not no thug or nothing like that. Don't get it wrong. It's just I just did the research because I want to know where I'm living.
well, we want people to be informed about what's out there because you see, there are a lot of people who think that simply their ability to post on selfies of themselves on Facebook holding a gun somehow qualifies them as being dangerous. And I think that a comparison between some of these other organizations that actually have made a name for themselves because they have law enforcement tracking them because they tend to kill a bunch of people if you cross them. And yet these other folks over here who claim they're so pro-black and militant, and yet we haven't seen them crack an ice cream cone. And that's the kind of thing that I take notice of. So having some idea about MS-13 I think would help in that regard. I was hoping you had a bit more information, though.
Oh no,
Hmm.
that's why I didn't know why he wanted me to call. That's pretty much it. That's the extent of my information.
Okay. Now, you said they had an injunction against them.
Yes.
What type of injunction?
I guess because they're on the Fed's radar. They're probably the biggest, most important, powerful gang in the United States outside of the Mexican Mafia.
Okay, because I was
I mean,
kind
the
of...
Mexican Mafia uses MS-13 as their henchmen to carry out hits and shit in LA. Excuse my language, hits and stuff in LA and Mexico. They use MS-13 as their soldiers.
Okay, I was just kind of curious about the injunction, because an injunction usually applied to a different part of the law, but an injunction is usually something different, applied in a different part of the law. So I was just curious as to how exactly that worked. Maybe that might be their reason for not showing up in the neighborhood.
But I don't know. There's been, within the past year and a half, MS-13 is showing up everywhere. I got family in Maryland told me MS-13 is like deep in D.C. and Maryland now too. And there was some crime out there.
MS-13 has been out there in Virginia. Now, when
Yeah,
I was
I
out
didn't
there,
know that.
when I was out there 12 years ago, which I'm not afraid to say, when I was out there 12 years ago, that was about the time that MS-13 hit the radar because the guy killed his teenage girlfriend, and she was pregnant. Took her out in the canoe down there in Shenandoah Valley and sliced her up and whatnot. So I was out there when all that happened. So, like I say, MS-13 has actually been out there. But the reason why I bring that up is because if we are going to talk about ethnic paramilitary groups, I would like to find out here, the reason I do this comparison is because we know about the skinheads, we know about the white militias, and I'm trying to figure out what is the black equivalent of MS-13.
We don't have it. Black Pea Stones, Gorilla Family, I don't think we have it. The Bloods and Crips are a joke in LA now.
You know, the
Bloods and Crips don't really get respect out here.
Black
anymore.
Gorilla Family was, I mean, we can only talk about what Black Gorilla Family was. We can't talk about what Black Gorilla Family is. We can't actually even talk about what it is now. Black Gorilla Family, respect and everything, but was effectively shut down. Effectively.
Yeah.
Can we just be
Right.
honest about it? I mean, we remember it, and Ice Cube mentioned it in a song and everything 20 years ago, but it's really just a relic at this point. So while that's nice that they throw that out there and stuff, and the police bringing up a relic like Black Gorilla Family, and the guy Ismail Brinsley isn't even a member of wasn't a member of Black Gorilla Family, by the way. He wasn't even a member of it, but they brought it up anyway just to let you know we still watching you niggas. But as black people, I'm waiting for the equivalent of it, and these people who had so much to say earlier about trying to, I guess, define for us who qualifies as black for them, they had so much to say, and yet I'm looking to see where they are gaining a reputation, where they are accomplishing the same thing that even something as lowly as MS-13 is. MS-13 is not this highly organized thing. It's like every other street gang.
Right.
These individuals claim that they are straight paramilitary, and yet we are not able to even compare them to Mara Salvatrucha or anything else like that. We're not able to even compare them to the white skinheads. We're not even able to compare them to Timothy McVeigh. Just one lone person.
Right.
Forget altogether their resources. I'm just talking about one of them who actually has the technical expertise. Forget the resources. Does this guy actually even know? Has he ever actually held workshops and seminars where he said, all right, everybody, I've got 20 weapons on this stage with me, on this table with me. Let me show you how they work. Let me show you how to pick a pair of handcuffs. Let me show you how to unlock the back door of a police car. Now, I can explain to all of you how to unlock the back door of a police car. You know why? Because I bought many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anybody who's ever seen a police car, and they sell them to the feds, they sell them to the state and everything, you know that the rear seats don't have the posts on the doors. So you can't, even if you're handcuffed, even if you could get your hands up there if the cop just wasn't caring, it's not like you can just put your hands up there and unlock the door and step out. It doesn't work that way. So the question then becomes, okay, I'm stuck in this car. How do I get out of it? Now, I can explain to you all how you do it. You're going to need one piece of equipment with you. I can explain to you how you get it done, but the real question then becomes, how many people can actually even explain this to each other? If you had one person who had that type of technical expertise, that would be the kind of thing you're looking for. How many of these individuals can sit up here and tell you about police radios? They are talking as if they're going to have a confrontation with law enforcement, and yet they never have. So my question is, how can you actually be serious about confronting these people and you never have? But I can show you where.
CBA, I don't know about the group that you're referencing. Like, I don't know anything about.
Well, I'm not going to say any names, but what I'm saying is that taking into account the neighborhood that you live in and stuff like that, and when I said that, where's our equivalent of one of those groups? And you even named the Bloods and the Crips and said, but they're a joke. Well, yeah. I hate to tell you, but that was really your last line of defense.
Yeah.
That was it.
Black people, like you said it, we're done. We're done in L.A. It's over.
At the current population and with the laws being passed and stuff, at this point, it's all over but the shouting. It's all over but the shouting. Anything that we are pretending to do at this point in California, not just L.A., California. It's a wrap in California. It's over for the whole state. The whole state is done, not just L.A. And the reason for that is because if individuals had, and like I say, you've only got a cursory knowledge about MS-13, but you know what? If more of our people even had that much, if more of them actually had that much information about it, because it's one thing to say MS-13, it's another thing to be able to say, that coming South American guerrillas and be able to talk about at least a little bit of the history of it, because that gives you some idea. The guys joining the Bloods and the Crips are not ex-military. They've had no military training whatsoever. Most of them could not get into the military because of their felonies. Because a lot of them got felonies before they leave high school. So with that being the case, they never have an opportunity to get formal military training. And your white supremacists have it, and your Latino supremacists have formal military training. What about black folk?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But taking a selfie on Facebook is somehow going to preserve them.
Right. One other thing that I do know, I don't know that much about them, but I do know that the MS-13 developed out of that civil war in El Salvador.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of that paramilitary training comes from. And then they came to Los Angeles, and a lot of them got crapped on by the Mexican gangs in Los Angeles. And that's how Mara Salvatrucha sort of began in Los Angeles.
Right. And now, in El Salvador, and this was the United States government's backing and the United States government's meddling, which is what caused that civil war in the beginning, in the first place. Let us never forget that. And a lot of these guys right here have the U.S. government to thank for their training, by the way. You got a lot of rebels that the U.S. government has trained around the world who the chickens have come home to roost in many different ways. I was watching a documentary about the Boston bombing. And you know, Al-Qaeda is basically a development of the United States government. It came from the Taliban, which was essentially created by the United States government, propped up by it, armed, trained, everything else. So you've got meddling to thank for that. Now, here's the crazy thing about the South Americans versus the Mexicans and whatnot. Power does not respect weakness. Power respects power.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to start seeing a coalescing of them as it goes. As they start getting legalized, as they start gaining real power and wealth, they're going to realize we're stronger together than we are apart. Like the Italians and the Irish and the Germans at the beginning of the 20th century, there were deep ethnic divisions. Today, nobody even cares about them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even ask Irish, Italian, German anymore. You're just white.
Right.
And Latinos are going to start waking up and whatnot, even in these gang situations. They're not fighting over ethnicity. They're really just fighting because I have no power among the Mexicans. I only got power among my own people. When they start saying that we are a people, Katie, bar the damn door. Because what the Latin Kings and the rest of these groups feel about using militaristic tactics to clear black people out is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Harbor Gateway taught you that.
I agree.
Harbor Gateway taught you that.
100%.
So the reason I wanted you to call was not that. I think there may have been a misunderstanding about what you were trying to say, but the reason I wanted you to call was because I can talk to people about this all day and all night, but I don't live in California. Now, somebody who actually does live there and can validate what I'm saying, that's the kind of thing that we want to look for. Because you see, that,
can I ask you a question, TBA?
That enhances my statements, what I make. Yes.
All right, first off, I love everything you're doing. I may have come off hostile, but I'm from Baltimore. I'm just an East Coast dude. But I agree with about everything, pretty much everything you say. And I'm passionate about your broadcast and the stuff that you talk about. Love it. I'm organizing people to go see 7 a.m., trying to get the LA peeps to come, trying to get my New York people to come out because I went to school in New York, lived there for 10 years, trying to get my Baltimore people to get down. But it's hard.
You're telling me.
Black people, it's like I know a lot of black intelligent people that graduated college, all that, including family members, and they think I'm nuts. They think I'm militant. It's like talking to a brick wall. And I'm like, just like what you said with the Latinos, everybody's squadding up except us. Even the intelligent and black society, you can't get through to them. I'm just at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. I'm ready to just say fuck it and leave this country.
Well, here's the
problem.
problem.
We can't get enough black people on the same page.
I mean, brother, if I had this conversation years ago, at this point, I would tell all the intelligent black folk to get up and leave. But get up and leave and go where? I mean, it would be different if there was some haven of intelligent black thought somewhere else. If there were, brother, I'd be broadcasting from there. I would not be broadcasting from Louisiana. I'd be broadcasting from there. As it stands, brother, white supremacy is worldwide. White supremacy is global. And you go to Africa, they're lightening their damn skin. They worship white folk in Africa. You're gonna get over there in Africa, and black folk find out when they go over there, you got only a few Negroes like Julius Malema. We only got a few black folk like him in Africa. That's it. The rest of them is a black female, Speaker of the House, I guess it is, in South Africa, giving Julius Malema hell all the damn time when he gets up to speak. Let them white Afrikaners sit up here and talk as much trash as they want to. There's a black female sitting up here playing the big, fat, knot-headed bedwench role. I mean, and it's the same thing everywhere. You go to Rwanda, same thing. Ethiopia, same thing. To a lesser degree in Zimbabwe, but they ain't kicking it in the gear. You know, it's to a lesser degree in Ghana, but, you know, Ghana is under the damn thumb. In Nigeria could have more going for themselves, but take a look at Nollywood. Nollywood is like white porn. So you can see who their biggest influence is. They're not trying to be a haven of intelligent black thought. They're trying to imitate the Caucasians that they see on TV, not even real Caucasians, the ones they see on TV.
So you think we'll be successful organizing in the United States?
Brother, you don't have a choice. Here, it's not like your odds are any better anywhere else. You want to talk about bastard babies? Let's go over to Britain. It's the same thing there. Jamaica, same thing there. Brazil, same thing there. It's the black folk are in the exact same position all over the world. There is no place that we're just really just kicking ass and making great things happen. It's just not. It's just not. If there were, I'd be there. If it were, I would be broadcasting live from Swahili. Whatever. I'd be broadcasting live from Sudan. If that were the case, I would be sending y'all pictures from there and trying to get as many of you over there as I could. So, brother, I mean, if the odds were better somewhere else, I'd be there. But here's the real question, though. The real question is, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. Because if you can't galvanize 100 black folk in Baltimore, what the hell makes you think you're going to galvanize 100 black folk in Chad?
Right.
I mean, if you can't do it here and you speak the language, you know the currency, you know the culture, you're damn sure oppressed enough. If you can't get 100 black folk to cooperate here, what makes you think you're going, well, I'm going to go to another place and be more successful as an alien than I am as a homegrown person? So that's what I tell black folk. The odds are daunting, but the truth is your odds aren't going to be any better anywhere else. This is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. And no, that's just the honest, brutal. I'm not going to sit up here and sprinkle sugar on vomit. I'm just going to tell you just like it is. I'm not going to sprinkle sugar on vomit and tell you it's ice cream. This is the reality. This is what you're up against. This is what you're up against. You can find some places where it's like playing whack-a-mole with like 4 moles. You know, we can knock one down, but we're not finding a place that has all 4 things, you know. We're not finding power, wealth, influence, intelligence. You can find a place where black folk have numbers, but they got no power. A place where we got money, but we have no numbers. A place where we got intelligence, but we have no power or money. You know, it's right now we're trying to get together a situation where we have all the pieces in place because we ain't got it. We ain't got it. I can't tell you one thing, get the hell out of where you are. It's like I told the caller the other night. Man, if you're a woman who wants to talk about driving a car, would you want to live in Saudi Arabia? I'm a female, and I want a driver's license. Would you want to be a female if you wanted to be a swimsuit model? Would you want to live in Afghanistan as a female? Those people will chop your head off for that. A female talking about running around like that. They'll chop your head off. So what I'm saying is, yes, you can be a swimsuit model. You just can't do it there. Because you're around a bunch of people who your environment is contaminated. You got to go. You will actually have to take the most drastic step and leave and go to a place that has a better environment. These folk here, man, when you're in California, California has been sinking for black folk now for 35 years. The Panthers were the last gasp. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I'm sorry, because the Panthers came out of Oakland. I'm sorry to have to say it, but it's over.
Right.
At this point, all it's going to be is just a slow, I can't even say slow anymore. It's just going to be a steady decline. And you're going to have a bunch of folks standing strong. We are never going to be 0% of the population, okay? We're never going to be 0% of the population of California. You will just be an irrelevant percentage of the population. That's the problem.
Right.
You won't be 0. You'll just be irrelevant. And that's where we're heading to right now. Actually, to be totally honest, they're already ignoring the hell out of you right now. There's not one politician in California who is concerned about, quote, the black vote. You don't hear any politicians in California talking about, quote, black issues. Name them for me. Anybody. Name for me the politician who is talking about black issues. Maxine Waters is not talking about black issues. Everything she says is black and brown. Everything. So even your so-called black politician who depends on the black vote is only talking about black and brown. Now, when the politicians that you voted for and you put there from your neighborhood to protect your interests are not even talking about you exclusively, you're done. She doesn't even believe she can stay in office without saying black and brown. You're done. You're already irrelevant. She's already ignoring you.
Can I interject for a second?
Miss.
I'm only out here because of the entertainment industry. And I've been afforded a lot of opportunities out here that I wasn't even afforded in New York. But it's like, if you're talking to entertainment, I mean, it's been going okay for me individually. I know that's, you talk about we need to think more on a group level, but
I don't mind that. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with that. No. Let me stop you there. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with that at all. What I have a problem with is, Red, you're the only one. We got one guy here, one guy over there, one guy way over there. But we don't have a group. Politicians do not respond to individuals, they respond to groups. Corporations do not respond to individuals, they respond to groups. Gangs don't respond to individuals, they respond to groups.
Right.
Where's the group? Because you're just
I'm
one
trying
guy.
to find a group.
All they gotta do is knock you off, and that's it. Revolution's over. We need a group.
Right.
So my problem is not, I don't have a problem with the entertainment industry, and I don't have a problem with somebody building something for themselves. You have to build something for yourself. Damn, you can't help us if you're broke. Of course, you have to do something for yourself. What I'm saying is, where's the rest of your help?
This is why I'm organizing the screening, to make sure folks come out to 7 a.m. in L.A., because, black people are not very conscious out here. But I got a lot of black folks that are from the East Coast out here because they're here for entertainment too. And a lot of them, they're sort of more conscious than the native black folks who are like from LA. So,
well,
I just got to do what I can do. That's all I can do.
I will say that my ticket sales in Baltimore have been slow. I will say that. Baltimore has been slow. It may be that they're just waiting until the last minute. Okay, that's fine. But, there's a couple of areas, like D.C. has really been turning out. L.A. is turning out. New York is turning out. Dallas. But it's some of those other pockets that people have been questioning and whatnot. Detroit. Baltimore. Right. I'm particularly looking at Baltimore because Baltimore is reaching a tipping point now. It's reaching that tipping point that Atlanta is reached, that it's about to be over for Baltimore too. And I chose Baltimore, even though I was hesitant to do it. I chose Baltimore because it needed it. But you can't just do stuff because folk need it. The truth is, everywhere in America needs this. I can't do everywhere in America. And it's on the East Coast, man. I worry because, like, the situation in New York, that's a bad situation. In Baltimore, it's bad situation. And that whole East Coast, what I see, and I mean this, in the next 20 years, I see a situation where they just drive black people out of the North and the Northeast altogether. And most black folk are going to end up back in the Southern United States. And we will be a majority of the population, but we will be just as broke and just as dominated as we are. We will be impoverished. We'll have dirt roads. The police will be able to kill us with impunity. All the citizens will be black and all the police will be white. like South Africa.
Right.
And we'll be like, how the hell do we get here? We're all in one place. We got that precious unity that everybody was looking for. We're all in one geographic region. We got that precious unity that Negroes been make-believing and fantasizing about for 30 years. We got it now. And now we're all just unified broke, unified poor, unified helpless. All we are is all in the same place and broke, as opposed to scattered across the U.S. and broke and powerless. Now we're in one place and broke and powerless. That's what I see that happening, because in Detroit, they're utilizing the same tactics they used in New York, in Hurricane Katrina. They're just going to squeeze us all into about a 4-state region. They're going to squeeze us all into those 4 states, and then that's it. They've dealt with their black problem, because essentially they will have made a 4-state reservation.
Right.
And by the way,
Right.
not only that, but believe it or not, you'll have plenty of jobs too. In that 4-state reservation, you'll have plenty of jobs. McDonald's, picking beans, sweeping floors. You know, GM might start opening up plants. GM and Ford might start opening up all their plants in the southern United States, where you can pay black folk $10 an hour. Now,
so what do you suggest, TBA? You can't force people to raise their consciousness, though.
brother?
Like, there's only so much you can do.
This is economic Darwinism. Adapt or die. Progress or
Right.
perish. That's 7 a.m. is not about waking anybody up. I wanted to make that very clear. 7 a.m. is not about waking up anybody. I know. One of the taglines is, if you're black and broke, it's time to wake up. But understand, 7 a.m. is not about doing that. 7 a.m. is about a call to arms of the people who are already awake. The people
Right.
who already understand. This is not about somebody who is still debating what the problem is, or that we need to do something about it. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. Brother, we ain't got time to shake one more person and say, get up. We don't have time for that.
Right.
With these Negroes sitting up here, I don't need no capitalism. I don't need no money. I just need to know my history. That Negro is, he's done. He's gone. He's done. He's done. He is still making up excuses to resist. I'm not going to move. I don't know how to build an economy, so I'm going to tell you that my history is more important than an economy. I'm getting my ass kicked because I don't have an economy, but I don't know how to build one. I'm stupid and I'm scared. And so I'm going to tell you that I got this religious book that I don't really know anything about, but this is going to save me. And I got this gun that I don't really know how to use, but it's going to save me. And I got this Maya mindset that I don't really know anything about, but it's going to save me. All because I'm trying to avoid dealing with the embarrassment that I don't know how to build an economy. How are you going to buy bullets for those guns? Bullets cost money. Even if we're going to have a shooting war, bullets cost money. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that?
Impossible.
So we got the folk in black society who understand the problem and are dealing with it in a realistic adult way. And then we got the make-believe people. Then we have the people who are playing Fantasy Island. That's what we're up against right now. And brother, I'm just telling you, the folk playing Fantasy Island is over. The black folk in California didn't want to move. Now you ain't got to worry about it.
Nope.
Detroit,
Nope.
black folk didn't want to move. Now you ain't got to worry about it. New Orleans, black folk didn't want to move for 40 years. Prided themselves. I'm a resident of Louisiana. I ain't talking what I think. I'm telling you what I lived. Black folk down there in New Orleans, they love talking about their mulattoes. Love talking about their octoroons. Love talking about their Creoles. They loved it to the point that we made it an international thing. We were known for our love of Creoles. Okay, so all we concerned about is sex. Take a look at this high yellow chick on my arm. But, Negro, you broke as a damn joke. And if this place ever floods, what you gonna do? Get this nigga out of here. Ain't nothing like that gonna happen. You take that old Chicken Little talk on somewhere. I'm fine like I am. And don't you know when the levees broke? The reason the body count was as high as it was because we were the poorest people in Louisiana. And the white folk had boats. Now, I had kinfolk who lived down there, and they had boats. My kinfolk did. Most black people didn't. Most black people didn't. We're not being caught off guard. We got a bunch of folk who have just decided, like the ant and the grasshopper, I'm going to be the grasshopper. I'm just going to sit here. And I'm telling you at this point, brother, it's going to thin the herd. It's going to thin the herd. We can't keep doing this. The people who have just decided that they're not going to grow up and they're not going to change and they're not going to progress, that's it. Your Zimmerman is coming. It's over for you.
What percentage of the entire black population would y'all like to reach as far as like bringing them in towards intelligent black society though?
100%.
Like, what percentage do you feel like you need?
I would like to bring 100%.
That's not, come on, no.
And that's not going to happen. Yeah, you said how many would we like? I would like to have 100%. How many do I want? I want 100%. Not going to get it, but I want it.
Well, how much do you think you can succeed with?
Now, that's the question you were really trying to ask is, well, how many do you think you can actually get to do this? Brother,
Right.
At this point right now, because I have a film coming out, I will tell you I will not answer it as specifically as most people would like. My simple answer to you is, how many do I think we're going to be able to get? Not enough. Not
Damn.
enough. I mean, Bartholomew just posted up in the chat room, and he's right. It's Noah's Ark time. It's Noah's Ark time. Brother, they just killed Eric Garner in cold damn blood. I can't make this damn thing no clearer to nobody. They just slaughtered him. They just freaking strangled him to death on video and told you what you gonna do about it.
Yeah.
That's what Prosecutor Dan Donovan did. What you gonna do about it? And Bob McCullough gave that verdict at night because he wanted there to be looting and rioting, and there was, and he wanted to show that you can loot and you can riot and you can whatever you want to, and it ain't gonna move us. That's the worst you can do, and it's not gonna move us, and I'm doing this on purpose to show you you can't do nothing. You had a lawyer down there in Florida during the Trayvon Martin case after they made a damn monkey out of Rachel Jeantel, and here this bastard is in his car on Twitter with his damn crack baby daughters talking about today we beat stupid. Now, why didn't he get his lawyer's license taken? Why didn't he get disbarred for that?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't there an investigation for that? Why? Because you have no black folk in Florida to enforce that. But we got Flo Rida. And we got we have Tallahassee Payne. Oh, I'm sorry, T-Pain. Not supposed to use the long form, I guess. You got Tallahassee Payne and Flo Rida. You just ain't got no judges. You just ain't got no prosecutors. You just don't have any attorney generals. You just don't have that. The people who can read and write, you just don't have that. Plenty of clubs.
Should we be willing to turn our backs on family members?
Buddy, not willing. Not willing. You shouldn't be willing to do it. You should already cut them off. You don't have time to save them. I'm sorry. It's a very sad thing. It's a very difficult thing. I understand that, buddy. We this is triage. We got stage 4 cancer. We cannot sit here and argue with our leg about the need for chemotherapy. Chop that bastard off and keep going. You have to, brother. We got no choice. We got no choice, man. They have been institutionalized. Your kinfolk have been institutionalized. And you know about prison. You know that term, institutionalization. They're institutionalized. You can walk them clean off the plantation. You can take them to Canada. You can get them a job at the plant or making cars or at the TV station. Don't you know you're going to wake up in the middle of that night and that Negro's going to be gone?
Right.
And you're going to call him up the next day. You're going to be like, I don't know where he's at. And I'm going to say, I know exactly where he's at. TBA, where is he at? Call the plantation. Ring, ring, ring. Uncle Joe? Yeah, Red, I had to come on back down here. But why? You were free.
Right.
But you were free. I mean, you seen that movie, The Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
I mean, everybody's seen the Shawshank Redemption. And we all know about, I forget his name off the top of my head, the old white man. They sent him to the store, and he hung himself. Why? Because he was going to kill somebody just so they could keep him at the prison. Mecklenburg. All of y'all, go take a look at the case of the Mecklenburg riot. Mecklenburg was a prison. Here in America. Take a look at you can look it up later, but all of y'all can go look up Mecklenburg. Go take a look at what happened with the Mecklenburg riot. And with the Mecklenburg riot, you had some escapees. One of the escapees, he had been moving towards the Canadian border. He got like a mile, or he had made it all that way from Mecklenburg. All those miles. All he had to do was make it across the border, and he's in Canada. Don't you know that a couple of miles before he got to the border, he stopped and turned right back around and turned himself in? He went through all that trouble to escape. He left the prison, made it almost to freedom, turned around and went right back. And you know why that happened? That happened because it took him so long to get to the border. Because walking that way, all he could do was think about, what am I going to do when I get to the other side? And by the time he got there, he had talked himself out of it. All that work to get out, and by the time he got there, he talked himself straight out of it. And most black people don't even make it to the point of wanting to leave. They have mentally they have made the plantation their home. And I'm telling you that, brother, you cannot free a slave who believes that the plantation is his home. You can't free him.
Right.
He's lost. He's just
That's
lost.
my problem. I keep trying to do that.
Brother, you just gotta let them go. You have to let them go and just realize that that's not your family anymore. We are.
Right.
That's not your family anymore. We're your family. Those people don't know anything about you. They don't know you. Those are just people who came from the same bloodline. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They're not going where you're going. They're not going where you're going. You're going to the promised land. They are literally going nowhere. Literally. There's nothing for you to do. And it's a difficult thing because we have been raised as black people with a religious mindset that has led us to the idea that the plan of salvation, everything is about the plan of salvation. Everything's about salvation for us. That everybody is supposed to be, quote, saved. And the simple mathematical truth is that you cannot save everybody. Nor should you.
Right.
Number one, you can't do it. Number two, you shouldn't do it. Because all we're really doing is removing the world of consequences. And this is emboldening people. Because every time there's going to be consequences for their actions and we save them, that makes them think, well, hell, what is to keep me from doing the same thing again? Somebody's going to come save me.
Right.
So there's no incentive for them not to keep doing it. I can betray everybody. I can stab them in the back. I can spit on black folk. I can become the fraud. I can do anything I want to do, and black folk will take me back and save me. To hell with that, ain't that right, Bill Cosby? Brother, you're gonna have to Bill Cosby your folks. Now, I didn't say you're gonna drag them down the street from the back of a minivan, and I didn't say you're gonna do that. I didn't say next time your mom gets out of the car, beat her with lead pipes. I didn't say that. But what I am saying is just understand you cannot fool with them on that level.
Right.
You can't fool with them on that level. You just have to understand that for birthdays and holidays, send them a card. For empowerment, these people, it's like if you were a college professor talking about Newtonian physics, trying to talk to a third grader.
Yeah.
It's just what you're saying is so far over their heads and outside their comprehension. All you're going to do is frustrate yourself, which is what you've been doing. All you're doing is frustrating yourself because you're like, damn it, they don't get it. And I'm trying to get you to understand they do get it. What you are selling, it's like, how many kids do you have, Red?
None.
Okay. I know 4 women in California, actually. I know 4 of them in California, actually. I would like to introduce you to them.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Right.
Would that be okay?
sounds cool to me, TVA.
Okay, because like I said, you're out there in California. I know 4 females, actually. Oh, yeah, one thing, by the way, they each got 3 kids. But I think that this would be a good match for you, and I think that you'll all get along swimmingly.
All right.
Okay, so now you are going to have to help take care of the children. You can't just
Wait, I'm going to have to take care of her children?
Yes, Red. That's why I informed you that they each have 3 kids. I know 4 females. They each have 3 kids. But you've already said, yes, I'll take it. So now you have to take it, Red.
Nah, I'm down to be friends with them. I'm sure they have great personalities. Yeah, I'm down to be friends with them.
But Red.
Yeah, I'm not.
But Red. Maybe I should let you talk to them. So that
no amount of talking is.
Wait a minute, but don't you want them to explain to you the upside of dating them?
No, I have a good concept of the upside and downside to that. I'm pretty good.
Okay, well maybe if I let them explain it to you long enough, you'll start to get it. Maybe the problem
I get your point.
Maybe the problem is that you don't get it, and maybe we need to let them explain to you that the kids won't be in the way, and that you'll get used to playing with them. You'll wonder how you ever got along without them. They will just pull your little heartstrings, and everything will be that you'll get accustomed to it. That you'll never have known anything as wonderful as the joys of fatherhood, even if you're not the father. But maybe if I give them time enough to explain it to you long enough, you'll start to get it.
Touche, good sir. Your point has been made.
When you're dealing with your folks, I'm trying to make this in a way that it's not driving you nuts anymore. Just understand, it's not that they don't get it. They get it. It's just that they're not buying what you're selling. Why do I need to be free? There's so much risk involved in free. But you don't understand. Hell, Darren Wilson is out here. Well, I'm not going to mess with Darren Wilson, so he's not going to mess with me. Are you kidding me? That's what Eric Garner was thinking. Well, Eric just didn't do it right. He should have just went on down to the police station with the police. Okay, and what about Tamir Rice? Well, he should have been playing with guns. He didn't have a gun. He should have been playing with toys. What about Oscar Grant? He shouldn't have been on the subway. Sean Bell shouldn't have been out drinking with his friends. He was going to his own damn wedding. He should have just gone straight to the church.
Oh, man.
I mean, what I'm saying is that it's one of these things where brother, you remember when you were a kid, if you were scared of bees, or if you were scared of fireworks, or if you were scared of fire or whatever, there was nothing your parents could say that would butch you up enough that you would be brave to it. When a person is just scared, they will just be scared, and they will give you every reason, every excuse, every rationale not to do it. But the bottom line is, brother, they're scared. You have seen how it's one of those things where Robert Kiyosaki gives a great example. Now I'm going to stop milking my metaphors in a minute, but Robert Kiyosaki gives a great example where he says, he asks people about car repairs and whatnot on their cars, and they keep talking about their investments, and they want to have all these investments and diversified. And he asks them, how many cars do you own? And they always give the same answer, 1. To which he says, well, why don't you own 10 cars? Because don't you understand that your car could break down? So if you have 10 cars, you won't ever have to worry about a car being broken down, because you've always got a running car. Now, most of us that's called diversifying your risk. Most of us would not buy 10 cars. If we did, we wouldn't buy it for that purpose. We wouldn't buy 10 cars because we want to guarantee our transportation. What we do is we try to get enough education about how to maintain 1 car, minimize our costs, and we take care of the one we got. So we don't have to get 10 because we have knowledge and information, and that saves us money, time, hassle, resources, storing all these cars, etc. you're not afraid of just having one car. Could it break down on you? Well, yes, it could. And even if it does, I know how to handle it. But what do you do with a person who's more scared of the car breaking down than he is of learning? At that, there's nothing. How do I give you the desire to have courage? I can tell you what courage is. I can show you mine. How do I give you desire? How do I make you want to have it? How do you make anybody in this world want to survive?
You can't.
And that's our problem. And the truth of the matter is, there is a good segment of black society, can I just tell you all the truth, that no longer wishes to survive. They just don't. And they know it. They're not living. They're just existing. They're just existing. And brother, all they want to do is be left alone. They're just waiting for their day to die. They're just waiting for their day to die. And they just want you to leave them alone. Red, they want you to just leave them alone so they can perish in peace. That's all they want. They want to smoke a little weed.
Yeah, it's depressing.
They want to smoke a little weed, drink a little liquor, get a couple of females, and they want you to leave them alone till they're gone. And every time you come around, they say, oh God, here he comes with this better life stuff.
Right. Yep.
And that's where you are. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, thanks, TBA. All right, just to close, I think I've been listening maybe 2 years now, and I guess I got put on to this broadcast from Tariq, because I bought Tariq's books when they first came out back in the 90s when I lived in New York. And then I got onto his podcast, then found out about Black Authority. And at first I was like, wow, this guy's tone, I don't know. I mean, I agree with what he's saying, but the tone in his voice, the way he talks down to people, I was like, I don't know. But then, like, I kept coming back, kept listening, and now it's like I can't even do without the broadcast.
Well, you know what it is? I've heard that tone thing. I've been hearing that for years now. And you know what the real issue is? The real issue is that most black people are not accustomed to hearing a black man who's confident. In a non-gay way. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. A black man who's confident in a non-gay way. They want you to be they want you to be some, okay. I could say the exact same thing that a Limbaugh or a Hannity or a Oberman or a Jon Stewart says, but the fact that I said it is threatening to them. They just don't know what to think. Right. They don't know why, but it's threatening to them. They're just threatened because I'm saying it. And what I'm saying is, well, I'm just saying what all these other people talking to their people say. I'm not even using the language they use. I am a lot nicer than Sean Hannity or Bill O'Reilly. Those are some fire-breathing dragons. Yep. I'm a lot nicer than them. How is it that my tone is the problem? And the problem is you all have not heard a spade being called a spade before. You haven't heard a black man who confidently told you the reason why we better start saying the word bastard babies and half brothers and half sisters. You've been brainwashed to believe that we as black men are not supposed to lead. We are not supposed to speak in straightforward terms. But yet when you watch football, you don't talk about the tone of those players. Nobody talks about their tone. Nobody talks about them being too rough or whatever. They're sitting up here yelling and screaming at each other and stuff, and LeBron James sat up here and almost knocked out Mario Chalmers. Nobody talks about his tone. I think Mario might have had a word to say about tone for a moment there. Like I say, we're not used to black men being confident about something serious. We're used to them being confident about something inconsequential. And as long as it doesn't matter, we don't care what language he uses, what terms he uses, how strongly he says it, because it doesn't matter. Mike Tyson can talk about eating their kids and stuff, and I'm going to knock his head off, and I'm in the people hurting business. I'm not in the nice guy business. I'm in the people hurting business, and we laughed and yucked it up. The rappers talk about shooting folks. They ain't going to shoot all damn day long. You listen to my broadcast, I don't use any of the type of language those people use. I don't threaten anybody, and yet somehow it's like, I don't know why. It's just the tone of it. And what it is, brother, is you're used to white men talking to you with authority. You're not accustomed to hearing a black man talk to you about that, not because he's threatening you, but because he's talking about serious issues and saying this is the gravity it deserves. We're not used to black men doing that. By the way, Malcolm X was told about his tone too. I mean, in those exact words, he talked about that once. People didn't like his tone, and but there's a reason for that. Marcus Garvey was shorter than any of us, and they didn't like his. As black men, we have to educate the world on the fact that we are going to be unapologetic. White men don't apologize to you, even when they're wrong.
Right.
Even when he's dead damn wrong, they don't apologize to you. And they certainly don't apologize to you for giving you their opinion or their thoughts on something. And they're not going to sit up here and apologize about their tone. So as black men, we have been made to believe that the only way we can get along with anybody is if we, and it's in the back of your head, brother. It's something you have to overcome. This idea that I'm okay as long as I'm non-threatening.
Right.
And it is my responsibility to make sure that any random person listening to me does not see me as threatening. I've got to be agreeable to everybody. I've got to be amenable to everybody. Everybody's got to like me. Everybody's got to be okay with it. Everybody's got to be cool with it. Because if they're not, I'm the one in the wrong. And I'm the one who will be punished if they're not happy with the way I do things. So I got to make sure everybody's cool with it. I can't talk too forcefully. I can't, I definitely can't be sure about what I'm saying. I can't be that.
Right.
That's more threatening than anything. Yeah. I can't actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. I can't do any of that stuff. Now, it's like with you when you got on the phone. Now, yes, a lot of people may have thought you were being belligerent at first, but when I asked you, what is MS-13, and you said Mara Salvatrucha. Now, at that point right there, you gained everybody's respect. It doesn't matter the fact that you were saying it in a shrill tone of voice. The point is, by the way, how many of you actually knew that that's what the MS and MS-13 stands for? Now, nobody's really clear on what the 13 is for, but how many people actually even know what the MS stands for? Now you know what the El Salvadorans know. How many black folk know what the El Salvadorans know? Not many. Now, I didn't ask the question because I was trying to play gotcha. I asked the question because I was trying to see, does this person actually know? Once he knows, that's it. He's qualified himself. But that's because I understand that that's the way it's supposed to work. If you were a white guy, nobody would be sitting up here messing with you about that. If you were white. But as black men, you know, now, there is no excuse for being impolite or rude. But as black men, we've been conditioned to believe that we have to speak in a subdued tone. Otherwise, we won't make the women happy, because of course making the women happy is more important than anything. Otherwise, we can't get no sex.
Right.
And we have to make white society happy. So we have to speak in a certain way in certain places. Don't upset these people. And what I'm telling you, brother, is damn that. The Arabs got more respect than anybody else right now. Why? Because they'll blow your ass up. And they are unapologetic about Islam. They're unapologetic about their stands and their beliefs. They're unapologetic. Black men are up here buck dancing, apologizing, crying, boo-hooing, and singing. Tell me who's having mercy on us for all this damn equivocating and capitulating we're doing. The Latinos are out there saying, damn the rest of y'all, give me a driver's license. But sir, you're not even a citizen. I don't give a damn. Give me that license. And guess what? They got it. Are they asking? No. Are they being nice? No. They're saying that you are the monster. You are the bastard if you don't give them a license. Everybody else is saying you are going to give me power on my terms. No wonder we as black men are so unsatisfied with everything that happens to us. Because we keep trying to gain power on other people's terms and not our own. No wonder we're never happy with what we get. Because that wasn't actually what we wanted. We just capitulated to what we thought somebody else wanted. And then we never get what we want. Brother, about my tone, let me tell you. I want there to be a stark contrast between me and everybody else. I want there to be a black and white line between me and anybody else who listens to me, talks, or anything. I want you to know the difference between them and me. Why? Because I want you to make a choice. And I want you to know before you get started, there is a clear difference between this guy and everybody else. Clear difference between them.
Right. Right. And that's why I listen. That's why I listen.
If you want to know why most people do not back us as black men, because we don't actually show them that there's a difference between us and anybody else, except in sports. In pro sports, we show them there's a difference. We get out there and dance. We showboat. We show confidence out there. We show you that there is a difference. I didn't just run down the field. I went into beast mode. I didn't just make a touchdown. I went into beast mode. What is he doing?
Right.
He's telling you that I ain't like the rest of these linebackers. I'm not like the rest of these running backs. You on this level. I'm up here. There's a difference. I'm up here, you down here. There's a difference between you and me. So when it's time for me to go get my merchandising, y'all got to break me off a bigger piece. Why? Because there's a difference between the two of us. He's just a running back. I'm beast mode. Take a look at my highlight reel. Michael Jordan, same thing. Nike, you got to cut me my slice. Matter of fact, hand me the knife. I cut you this slice. I am not just Michael Jordan. I'm Wings. I'm Air Jordan. I'm not an airline, but I'm Air Jordan. Would you like to book your seats? You got to break me a bigger check. I'm not just Shaquille O'Neal. I'm Shaq Fu. What the hell is Shaq Fu? I'm Shaq Diesel. What is Shaq Diesel? Where do you buy that? I don't know, but my contract says I can get it. There's a difference, but that's why the white players have never been as marketable. Because they all look the same.
Right.
They all look the same. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm insulting people tonight. They all look the same. You could swap out Joe Montana for Steve Young and you never missed a beat. And you know what? You can swap out Peyton Manning for Steve Young and never tell the difference. He's got to do. Am I lying?
It's always funny because I grew up a 49er fan. I love the Ravens, but before the Ravens, I was a 49er fan. So that's funny. But yeah, I feel you. I got you.
Johnny Manziel. You can swap him out. What's his name? Bledsoe, Tom Brady. Great quarterbacks, but off the field, they're interchangeable. And we as black men, we need to start asserting ourselves on our own rules and telling other people it's your job to become comfortable with me being a confident black male. It's not my job to sit up here and become weak. So my first consideration is, are you comfortable, especially when I'm not doing anything wrong? Now, if you're yelling and screaming and cursing and being belligerent, okay, sit your ass down. But it's just me talking like everybody else, but somehow I got to talk different because it's threatening when you do it. Oh, to hell with that.
Right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. Please do check in with us again.
Black first.
Black first, as always. No, as black men, we're told that we have to sit up here and mellow ourselves and make people. Your first concern is, are people happy with you? Your first concern is, do people like you? Not if you're acquiring power, wealth, and influence. I've got no problem with the brothers in the NBA and the NFL who are doing what they need to do to get their money stacked up. I got a problem with what they do with their money afterward. But I've got no problem with the marketing schemes. I got no problem with that. None. None. None whatsoever. And as black men, we don't make any headway because we don't draw any distinction between ourselves and everybody else out there unless somebody white comes up to us and tells us to do it. Then we want to make distinctions. Then we want to point out a difference. Then we want to sit up here and differentiate ourselves and distinguish ourselves. When it's some mess to get attention. But when it comes to survival, we're not trying to get anybody to sit up here and distinguish us. We ain't trying to do that. No. A lot of folk don't like Tariq. This Negro's too pretty. He thinks he's cute. Mac lessons and whatnot. I don't think he's cute. I don't think he's handsome. Nigga, it don't matter what you think. The bottom line is, whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, it's marketing. And his marketing it works very well. Too bad you can't do it. I'm not upset with Chad Ochocinco changing his name. He was marketing himself. He's being flagrant. And so Donald Trump can sit up here and be flagrant, but Tariq and Chad and Kobe and Shaq and Michael can't be? Everybody else can sit up here and be flagrant, but black men have to sit up here and be humble. That's that plantation mess. You Negroes need to be humble. Hold your head down. You need to be humble. Why aren't you being humble? Because a confident black man frightens people. Denzel Washington frightened people. Don't you sit up here and call him the best actor of our time today. Y'all scared to death of Denzel Washington. And when every movie that he was in, he walked with that damn strut. And you see the strut that he had in Mo Better Blues. You see the strut that he had in Malcolm X. He walked the same Malcolm gangster when he was Malcolm leader. You take a look at him in every movie that he does, he deliberately walks with his shoulders straight. Ain't no gangster lean. Ain't no diddy bop. Ain't no timid. Is anybody watching me? Because he knows that he is an example and a role model, and what distinguishes him from a Wesley Snipes, no disrespect, from a Will Smith, no disrespect, from a Bill Cosby, disrespect, is the fact that Denzel walks with his shoulders like that. And he wants you to know from his body language that he is not a man, he is the man. And I ain't got nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. As black men, we've been humble so long, and we're sitting up here expecting that people will give us more respect if we just show them we're not threatening. My God, black on black crime, you want to talk about that? Black men kill each other more than anybody else on earth, and people are still telling us that we're the biggest threat to them. We are the biggest threat to each other, statistically speaking, but then again, all people are. We're the biggest threat to each other, statistically speaking, and folks still telling us you're not non-threatening enough. Get down some more. Bow down some more. Buck dance some more. You're not non-threatening enough. You're still too much. And what they really mean to say is you're still too black male. Can you be less black male? Can you scrub that skin and become less of a black male for me? Hell no. Can you become more quiet for me? I think you can. We're going to open up the phone lines here again. Let me get caller from 313. You're on live with the Black Channel. Is this that 313 caller who keeps playing on my line? I'm going to wind up banning this person. Let me help them to the nether regions. I'm going long here. We as black men have this idea that if we bow down enough, that people will become will become more comfortable with our non-threatening posture. And I'm telling you all that it works in reverse. The more non-threatening you are, the more comfortable abusing you people become. They have become more comfortable abusing you because you are non-threatening. Black men have nothing to apologize for because we're not threatening. Take a look at the numbers. We're not threatening white power. We're not threatening white people. We're not threatening white neighborhoods. We're not threatening Latinos. We're not threatening Asians. We're not threatening Arabs. We're not threatening anybody. We're not a threat to anyone. It is our very existence that they resent and loathe and despise. And you are never going to be able to non-threaten that. You're not going to be able to do it. You aren't going to be able to make yourself non-threatening enough that they forget that you're black and male. You're never going to become non-threatening enough that you can get an excuse or a pass for it. You will always be last hired, first fired, most suspected. And we play this mind game with ourselves that somehow we can bow down enough and get people to let us go and acquiesce. And I'm saying to hell with that. We are in the position that we are in today because we've been bowing down and making people comfortable. Damn that. We have never established for them what being black means. We've never established it. We never have. So the Italians can sit up here and, hey, yo, what's going on, man? They can be as chest poked out and as confident as they want to be, but black men can't do that. And the Irish can have the fighting spirit. My God, there's nothing more threatening than telling somebody I'm fighting Irish. Hey, I just came for a beer, not a boxing match. I'm not just Irish, I'm the fighting Irish. Hey, I'm the chilled out Negro. The Irish made the term fighting Irish. Black men made the term chilled. But we need to mellow down? We need to mellow down. So the fighting folks don't need to tone down nothing, but the chill people need to take it down a notch. Are you serious? Is this a joke? Gotta be. Gotta be. Take caller from 336. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello, Jason. How are you doing, sir?
What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is James Massey. I'm calling from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, sir.
And what's on your mind, brother?
Okay, Jason. This has been a heavy topic that I've been thinking about, and it's just like with brothers in the penal system, and under with the corrupt child support and family court system, and it's like it's really, really disproportionate in like a woman's favor, and it's like how can black men come up with ways where we not be reactionary to the system, but counter it. I know one way is just dudes, excuse my French, a lot of black men need to start wearing condoms, which they don't do. But it's just like a lot of these brothers are suffering. They're not able to see their child. For instance, my dad's best friend, his ex-wife, cheated on him. So he lost his job because he called his son's house and she called the police on him. Every time he tries to see his son, she calls the police on him, and he gets sent to jail. And it's like so many black men have to go through this pain of not being able to see their child, and they listen to the women. So how can we fix the situation in the black community? Because it's like I feel like they're further perpetuating the black family.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's get a couple of things here straight. Nobody gets pregnant by accident. That's the first thing. Nobody gets pregnant by accident. If a man does not want to have children, he needs to take care of himself first. This idea that a woman is going to see to your best interests, we as males have to get over that. Now, I understand that most of y'all are raised by bastard baby makers. I get that. But the bottom line is you have to shake that mess off. A woman is not going to see to your best interests. Since the first female's belly got full, she was lying about who the daddy was. Because females are submissive creatures. So she was lying from they have since the very first one. They lie about who the daddy is. It's always been happening, and here we are 160,000 years later still fretting over something that's been happening 160,000 years, still acting like this is the first time. We need to stop that. Second of all, do not, let me slap this mic. Do not jump into bed with no hood rats. Because a sensible female is not going to be trying to take you to child support court to begin with. I know a number of single mothers, and you basically had to browbeat them. I'm the one who told them, you need to go put that Negro on child support. Because she didn't want to do it, because she's like, I got a job and everything, and I don't have to do that. And I was like, damn that, this is on principle. He ain't seen his kids in 4 years. He needs to at least be paying for something. I ain't say you have to drop a mortgage on him, but he needs to pay for something. That's ridiculous.
Because Jason, have you heard of like Darnell Smith, like the brother in Georgia or something, with
Yes,
fraternity fraud?
Yes, I do.
Okay, but I feel like if black men come together, pull our resources and put our money together to back a politician and get this child support situation fixed and fix themselves, it's like so much can change. But it's like we complain about it, but it's like if you call on 100,000 black men in these major metropolitan cities about the child support issues, they would not show up. But then they would complain about this is what's happening. I don't get that.
Well, you said if you contact 100,000 black men about it, they won't do anything. Well, it sounds like it's not an issue for them. Is it really an issue if you can get 100,000 of them together and they don't do anything? Is it really an issue?
Yeah.
I mean, brother, at some point, an organism that wants to survive has to get up and save itself. At what point do they do that? They're waiting on you to do it for them.
Because because every time you mention this, because it offends a lot of black women, and a lot of black women are like, oh, you guys are just trying to say all black women are bad. It's like nobody said all. We're just talking about the hood rats and stuff. But that's what really angers me. Is like whenever you speak about hood rats, you have like these college-educated and sensible black women that straight up defend these hood rats. And it's like the hood rats would never defend these women in their favor. So why are you defending them? I just don't get that.
Here's the real problem, though, brother. The real problem is if a female is not going to lie. They don't lie about that kind of thing. They come in the door with an attitude that lets you know that they're hood rat material. So why do black men keep overlooking that, sleeping with snakes, and then talking about, oh, what can I do about this system? I got bit. I mean, the first line of defense, whatever happened to, if you want to annihilate the hood rats, stop sleeping with them. We could wipe them out in one generation if black men would stop doing that. Now, I understand there's a lunkheaded group of black males that were raised by hood rats, and that makes them predisposed to go sleep with hood rats with no protection, and it creates this cycle that becomes this ever-growing cesspool that we're inhabiting right now. But what I'm saying is that for black men in my circumference and here in intelligent black society, that's not really an issue. And the reason that it's not really an issue is because, number one, we don't deal with hood rats like that. And hood rat has nothing to do. What you said about there are these educated black women who co-sign hood rats. Sir, you just made a distinction between them. As if there's some sort of distinction. There is no distinction.
They're one and the same.
There is a welfare Section 8 hood rat, and there is a college-educated middle management hood rat. There's a hood rat with 5 kids, and there's a hood rat with no kids. Section 8 welfare bummy heifer with 4 kids, that is not the sole definition of hood rat. Just like single mother. Brother, you can be a single mother with kids, you can be a single mother without kids. Especially if you had an abortion, by the way. Don't think that one's gonna get by me. But she may be a hood rat without children, but she's still a hood rat. That's like a child molester. He's not a child molester because he's rubbing on a little kid. If he rubbed on one 5 years ago, guess what you are? Well, I'm not even in the room with no kids. Well, guess what you are? I'm not a murderer. Why not? Because I killed somebody 10 years ago, but I ain't killing him now. Well, guess what? And believe it or not, you are a murderer the moment you want to be. The second that Daniel Pantaleo got into position to kill Eric Garner, that was when he became a murderer. The moment he wanted to do it. So we keep giving hood rats passes. We keep making levels of hood rattery, if I can use that particular distortion. But we make levels of that because we're trying to give people a pass. Brother, the real problem is that we as black men keep trying to expand the pool of available females as wide as we can. And that's why things keep staying messed up. There should only... I'm not afraid to say this. There's a reason why with the thousands of females that have been through, you know, my web pages and the Black channel and everything else, y'all haven't heard of one of them send you a message that said Jason Black said something off the cuff to me. Jason Black was trying to get my draws. Jason Black was trying to get into bed with me. Now, the fraud can't say that, and most of these other dudes can't say that. I can say that. You know why? Because most females do not appeal to me like that. You have to, it's the minority that I would be interested in, but it takes a specific type, and I will not settle. The average black man is, because he draws his identity and his self-worth from sex as if that's some sort of accomplishment. That is what he focuses his energies toward. So he has to give as many females a shot as possible because he knows there's a bunch of dudes out there angling for sex. So he's got to make himself available, which means that he has to let in some applicants who are not qualified to be there. And we as black men keep lowering the bar and letting in applicants who are not qualified to do anything but give you a hell of a time.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. With the release of 7 a.m., do you have any way you can counter the media? Because I know, you know, the black coon media like Ebony, Clutch, all these different, you know, Bedwinch magazines. Do you have a way of countering them? Because they probably might attack the movie because they did Hidden Colors, and they always attack prominent black men that do stuff. Because you're gonna start seeing like a lot of feminists try to bring up start gender war. And are you have any ways to counter that, brother?
Well, yeah, we counter it by being so strong it doesn't matter what they say.
Got you.
You need to take some lessons from Ferguson. Take some lessons from Staten Island. How many white folk were in Ferguson? Well, we already know the town is only 1/3 white. 2/3 of the town is black. That means that 2/3 of the town agreed with agreed with Mike Brown. 2/3 of the town was against Darren Wilson. Where's Darren Wilson today? Walking the streets a free man. Why? Because his group is powerful enough that it doesn't matter what even if it's the majority of people who don't agree with you, his group is powerful enough that it doesn't matter. This is why Attorney Maddox was so right in what he said. The black folks spend so much time running around trying to find conspiracies, worrying about conspiracies. And we become this intellectual masturbation about conspiracies instead of us focusing on power. Because instead of us focusing on white conspiracies, we need to focus on black power, because white men focus on getting powerful enough that it doesn't matter what black people are conspiring to do. It would be like an ant trying to destroy a cinder block. Now, as you know, even termites can't do that. That cinder block is so strong and so solid, this ant can't do anything to it except wish it could destroy it. And that is what we are doing. I want to be powerful enough that it doesn't matter what my critics say. I don't gauge myself by critics. I look to my base. I look to the people who support first. I look to the people who are active. We're all on the same page. And I would only regard critics if it had an impact on the people around me, I suppose. But as far as the media and stuff like that, brother, they're already against us. That's not, there is nothing you and I are going to say that's going to get them on our side. They are against black empowerment. So our goal cannot be to make friends out of them or stop them. They got microphones, and their microphones are weapons, and their weapons are aimed at us. Nothing we say or do is going to disarm those weapons or make them not use them. What we have to do is be powerful enough that their weapons can't stop us. That's what we have to do.
Got you.
And then we don't have to worry about it.
Because let me start say black women, a lot of black feminists were saying during the Ferguson, they were like, look how we're marching for black men. Well, we as black women, whenever we ask you guys to jump for us or do something for us, you guys never jump for us. He's like, well, you guys, she's like, black women get killed by the police. You guys are just sweeping it under the rug. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by you guys? We don't control the media apparatus. We don't control the journalists. So it's like, we can't report them because black men are a dysfunctional group, and we don't have our stuff together. So why are you looking towards us? And it's just like, and people were getting mad at so many people and stuff, you know, just bringing up, there was just a whole bunch of gender warring during the Ferguson stuff and the Eric Garner or whatever. And it's like always just pointed the direction at black men instead of our enemies, instead of white supremacy, just always pointed at us.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Anybody who gets bogged down in, quote, feminism and whatnot, Black folk are a group of black people. That is what unites us, not our gender. As long as you are black, you are on my team. Now, if you're sitting up here saying, well, I'm a black female, and we need to know what we're going to do for the females, now you are a traitor. You're divisive. We are black people because the world sees us as the enemy because of our blackness, not our gender. So you are trying to keep us artificially divided. You've got an ulterior motive for being here. You're not here under honest pretenses. You're here under false pretenses. And let's just be honest. These so-called feminists running around in Ferguson and whatnot, we got a bunch of lesbians angling for attention. But they're not doing anything. Tell me what they did. I'm going to sit up here and break a taboo tonight, but it's going to be what it's going to be, everybody. Will somebody please tell me, what did all of that protesting and demonstrating and embracing the perfection of black women and all these feminists in Ferguson, somebody tell me, after all these months, what did they accomplish? What got done?
I mean, they would have.
Did we remove Jay Knowles from office? Is Jay Knowles going to get run out of office? Did they remove a city council person? The police chief, the city manager, who actually appoints the police chief, and most of them don't even know that. How about Bob McCullough, the prosecutor who let Darren Wilson skate? Tell me, what did the feminists in Ferguson or anywhere else actually accomplish? We've had all this time. The verdicts are literally in. Somebody tell me, what do they have to show for all their marching and protesting and we the women out here representing? Tell me what they got to show for it. I will wait for anybody to show me that. Other than FaceTime on CNN, what you got to show?
I would say attention and notoriety. That's all I can say.
Okay, they got. In other words, they got something for themselves. They got something for themselves, but they didn't actually accomplish anything. They got their Twitter numbers up, but they didn't actually accomplish anything. Nothing. Nothing. And they want you to sit up here and act as if them taking selfies at a rally, and understand most of them ain't doing nothing. There's something. We called these people out. They have been contacted to run for office. They won't return messages. They won't return calls. Brother, they're not trying to do anything. They want you to give them credit for showing up at a rally and calling that progress. Meanwhile, Darren Wilson walked. And tell me, what is the plan now? All those feminists out there who claim they're leading things and calling shots, tell me, what's the plan now?
Nothing.
I mean, what's the next move? Somebody out there, anybody out there, tell me, what is the next move in Ferguson? I want somebody listening to tell me, what's the next move? What they gonna do now? Since you failed to get Darren Wilson indicted, you failed to get him arrested, you failed to remove the mayor, you failed to remove the city council, you failed to do anything about the prosecutor, you can't do anything. Jay Nixon has declared martial law, you're neutered, you're stopped dead in your tracks, you're still gonna say, I'm protesting, give me credit. Okay, I'll give you credit. Tell me, what is the next move now? The next move is, we keep protesting, we keep demonstrating, we keep agitating, but that's not doing anything. So what you mean is your next move is to do nothing.
Jason, I want to ask you a really serious question. In the next 5 years, do you think New York City is going to be the next California, or less than that?
In the next 20 years. In the next 20 years, on the current trajectory, Harlem's gentrification will be a fait accompli. If things do not change very, very soon. Detroit, with its overwhelming black population, is already on its way. The only reason why Harlem might hold out a little bit longer is because they have a bit of a more cultural roots and foundation. But in the next 20 years, all it's going to take is 3 developers with $3 or $5 billion, and that's it. It's over. Not 1,000 people, just 3. Just 3. 3 of those investment bankers can come from down the hill at Goldman Sachs and wipe out Harlem in a day. In a day. They
And
can
we're still marching for social issues, but not for economical issues. It's like every time people bring up economics, you have those subject changers. You always have those subject changers. I don't get that. It's like black people in New York City should just stop marching, just put their money together and resources, practice group economics, and own and control their neighborhoods. It's just like,
Well, you said we marched for social issues. Now, what are the social issues we marched for?
like social justice, like incarceration, like the change, like to get justice free, like the killings or the extrajudicial killings going on from like Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant and stuff, and basically just to get equality. Basically, that's just what we mainly march for, just equality.
Okay, here's the thing, all right? The reason for a person marching or protesting, what that is supposed to do is it is supposed to raise public awareness of a problem. That's what it's supposed to do. Here is the problem with the marching and protesting when black people do it. You're not raising awareness. Because everybody already
Because everybody knows about it.
So by definition, you cannot be raising awareness to an issue that everybody knows. So all you're really trying to do, you don't think you're doing this, but this is all you're really trying to do, is you are trying to shame the bad guys by shining a spotlight on them. You think you're going to shame them into changing their ways. That's what they're actually trying to do with their marching and protesting, because you do not march and protest your way to justice. Thurgood Marshall didn't march or protest nothing. He went to the Supreme Court, filed a case, got it passed. It's the law, whether the white folk like it or not. He didn't go looking to march. He went for power. And he came back with it. Now, you may disagree or agree with the way that what was done, but he went for power. He didn't go to protest. He didn't go to sit in. He said, y'all are sitting in and whatnot. Somebody show me the protest or the sit in and actually accomplish something. I'll wait.
Oh, Jason, I want to tell you something that this Coonish thing the Civil Rights Generation member said to me at work. You probably might make you mad, but yeah, it has accomplished nothing anyway.
You told him he hasn't accomplished anything.
No, I didn't tell him. I said, marching and protesting doesn't do nothing. And he said, well, he said you wouldn't. He said if we didn't march and protest, you wouldn't have the luxuries that you have today. I didn't ask him what was it because I was too busy working. I didn't want to argue with him because I'm like, what is the luxuries that you guys always talk about? I was going to say that, like, what luxuries? He said a lot of stuff because it's like he said we did that. He said like what you have now, like where you have to shop and stuff. We did that. We did that and stuff. So that's what he was just telling me. I'm like, okay.
So he's making the same old coon argument that your ability to be a consumer is freedom. You can shop at stores that you don't own that can fire you or arrest you, and he's calling that freedom. He's labeling that as an accomplishment. First of all, when somebody tries that "we marched" line, ask them where they marched at. Ask for a specific time, date, and place. Don't let somebody sit up here and pull that game on you anymore. He claims he was soldiering up. He claims he was representing. You get proof of that. And if he can't give you specific proof, you make fun of him.
It's just like I'm really upset because I'm like, you're the only person I could talk this to because it's like every time you try to tell the Civil Rights Generation you failed us, it's like they take offense to that. It's like the Asian kids, their parents, the Hispanic kids, and the white kids, their parents have prepared a future for them. They have so many programs investing in their future. We have nothing. The only thing we have is these token jobs that you've given us and just like a little bit of affirmative action that was meant for us, but these other minority groups have hijacked it. We have nothing. We're just left out in the dirt. And we're like, all of you guys tell us to respect you, but then we have nothing to respect you for. We have nothing. We're just dying out here, and it's just like we look for you for help, but the only thing you can tell us is go to college, go to school, and get a good job. How's this going to help me?
Show me one aspect of white supremacy that the Civil Rights Generation stopped. Tell me when they stopped Bull Connor. Tell me when they stopped Lincoln Rockwell. Tell me when did they stop George Wallace. Show me the protests and the marches that stopped Lincoln Rockwell Bull Connor or George Wallace? Tell me. Anybody. Show me when they stopped.
Nothing.
When that stopped them. Now I can show you the National Guard that went to Arkansas and Alabama and Mississippi and removed the white supremacists. I can show you that because of a Supreme Court order. But you cannot show me where the civil rights generations marching and protesting actually stopped any white supremacist anywhere. You can't show it. Nobody can, because it never happened. So all he can do is say, well, we made it where people can't tell you not to shop at their store. So you mean that you fought for the right for us to give white supremacy our money? You didn't build an economy. Your accomplishment is that you made it the law that white supremacists must take our money. And you think I'm stupid enough to give you thanks for that?
It's just, I think we're with the civil rights generation. I'm like with them with like a no point of return, because it's like you really did. You guys like just took us in a burning house. Like you just didn't do nothing about it. You just let it burn. Like look at the fires. That's all you guys did. So it's just like they're having a no point of return. So it's just like we have to start from ground zero because what they failed at.
Well, brother, they were scared. You only had a certain group of black people who were actually serious about getting things done. The rest it's no different. It doesn't change from one generation to the other. We keep going in the same cycle. There's a group of us every generation that's like Marcus Garvey. His generation died out. Malcolm X. His generation died out. Huey Newton. His generation died out. Us today. You know, we're the heirs to that. It keeps going. It just keeps going. These people are not... You've always got a segment of black society that keeps trying to say, well, I'm okay not being free, and I will make these empty arguments to save my ego, and I hope that nobody ever asks a probing question that debunks it. But we've been telling these lies forever. Brother, don't you know that Negroes were saying, hey, we're okay. We're in the 1920s, they were saying we're free. We're off the plantations. Don't you know they were saying it then?
So.
Yeah, I mean, but don't you know they were saying it then?
Yeah.
You got video of the guy talking to Malcolm X. This black fella, there's a black fella talking like that. You know, he's just stirring up trouble, and we need to try to, we ain't all bad. I mean, right there on the spot. All it took was a white man putting the microphone in his face. Boom, he's gone. He didn't even have to be coerced. He just started talking on cue. We have always had that problem. What is going to change black society, brother, is if you and I understand that the key to defeating white supremacy is not outside of ourselves. It's inside of ourselves. And by dealing with the problem on the inside, you'll stop the problem on the outside.
Yeah, because I see a lot of college black kids moving towards socialism because their thing is like, well, the Panthers were socialists, so, capitalism is the enemy. Capitalism is the reason why we're in slavery. But I'm like, don't you know that a lot of European countries were socialists while they were enslaving us? Don't you know that only, I think, Great Britain and the United States were capitalism? I think so, but a lot of others were socialists and stuff. And it's just like they try to promote, well, socialism is good. It's like the most economic. It's like socialism to me is like basically a utopian society, which is not going to work because you can never have a perfect society and stuff. And everybody's not meant to be equal because everybody has different working capabilities. So a lot of black people are gravitating towards that. So every time you talk about pro-capitalism, they just start cussing you out and start saying, your Uncle Tom, stuff,
Well, our people are weak. And because so many of them are weak, they gravitate to fads and make-believe. And socialism is just another fad. Everything and anything to avoid the inevitable. Building an economy. Building businesses. They are resorting to blatant, outright make-believe, all to avoid actually getting off their ass and building a business. Because talking about something you ain't gonna do, like the Negroes I was talking about at the beginning of this broadcast, talking about some mess you ain't never gonna do, and holding a prop in your hand, that's easy. That's easy. actually building these houses and building these businesses in your black society, in your black community, that's hard. And we can all tell whether you actually did it or not. You see, I can't tell if you're, quote, militant enough. I can't tell if you're serious about shooting somebody or not. I can't just tell that. I don't know it for certain. But I know if you built a business. Either you can show it to me or you can't. I know if you built an economy, you can either show me the money or you can't. And we keep giving passes to people who can't show us no money. And that has to stop tonight. No more passes to people who couldn't show us anything. And that includes the civil rights generation. I give respect to specific older black people. I don't give respect to the civil rights generation as a whole. They didn't do nothing. They didn't do anything worth respecting. I don't have any respect for them because they didn't do nothing. Bob McCullough has been a problem for 30 years, 25 years. Folk, all over Ferguson, they were talking about Bob McCullough this, Bob McCullough that. He's a Democrat and y'all voted for him. So if you knew he was a problem all this time, why is he still there? Why? What the hell have y'all been doing for 2 decades? If Bull Connor was a problem and you knew it, why didn't you deal with that? And some old Negro in your job trying to say, well, the problems are still here. That's what you should have told him. Every time some civil rights coon tries to tell you they did something, tell them, then why did the problems never go away? You said you did something about it. The problems never subsided. They never went away. They were always here and they're still here. So if you actually accomplished something, why come the dragon hasn't been slayed yet? Why is the dragon still here? Because he didn't do anything to it. He didn't do anything. They never have. And they never will.
They never will.
You will be here in 30 years with that same jigaboon sitting up here trying to tell you that his ability to go and buy a wristwatch is freedom. But do you know what he really just told you, brother? And this right here should have been enough for you to jump up and kick him in his damn teeth. I want everybody to understand. Now, James told us that this guy said that having the ability to shop at a store was freedom. I want everybody to think about that for just a moment. James asked this guy from the civil rights generation, what the hell did you accomplish? And he said, I get to shop at a store of the people who despise me. So he told you that being able to go to a store owned by people who hate him, giving his money to people who hate him, that is freedom. So he told you that he was marching and protesting and getting bit by, of course he's lying, he didn't do any of that, but metaphorically speaking, they were marching and protesting and picketing and demonstrating and agitating and getting the earwax beat out of them and dogs sicked on them and fire hoses sprayed on them, and that their goal for doing all of that had nothing to do with their children. It was because they wanted to go buy a pair of shoes and get a root beer float at the local drugstore. That was what the civil rights movement was all about. Being able to go on a shopping spree at the mall. Have you ever in your life seen a revolution whose goal was to shop at the mall? It's Malcolm X all over again. He said there's no revolution on earth that the goal is an integrated restaurant counter and an integrated public toilet except the Negro Revolution. But do you notice that he didn't say that the goal was to build something for you? Did you all notice that? He didn't say that the goal was to build something for my children, to pass something down to my children. Brother, he's telling you. He's spitting on you. I didn't do nothing for you. This wasn't about you. This was about me. This was about me getting some non-black sex. This was about me buying shoes at a non-black store. This is about me working in a non-black company for non-black wages in a non-black part of town and paying 3 times what a house is worth in a non-black neighborhood. That's what I'm doing this for. This ain't about no kids. Maybe Susie across the street will finally wink at me. Now that I bought a house in her neighborhood, now she has no choice but to see me every morning she gets up. And that is what I'm fighting for. Damn these children. Brother, he told you. Know this, by the way, don't listen to what he said. Listen to what they never say. They never say that their goal was to build power and wealth for their children, that white supremacy was oppressing them with power and wealth, and that their goal was to create power and wealth for their children. He told you that his definition of freedom is the ability to shop at the store of his choosing. Just so long as it's not a black one, because that has no value, because that's not status. He wants to shop at a white store because that's an accomplishment. But what about building something for your children? Isn't that an accomplishment? Nah. That child looks like me. Ain't no value in that. He looks like me.
Just waste it all up. They just dropped the ball.
No,
they early dropped the ball.
You said it right. They wasted it all. They threw it all away. They just threw it all away. It was all for nothing.
I mean, it's like they're schizophrenic. How can you demand respect if you just didn't do anything to get it? You just didn't,
they don't want
pass
respect.
Stuff down to your children.
They don't want respect. I'm not trying to cut you off, but they don't want respect. They just want acquiescence. They want rewards. They don't want respect. This was never about respect. If they had wanted respect, brother, they would be challenging white supremacy economically. Oh! I wasn't supposed to say that, was I? If they wanted respect, they would have engaged in the socio-economic hand-to-hand combat necessary to defeat white supremacy. Instead, they wanted integration. So that tells you their goal was not respect. Their goal was acquiescence. And if I acquiesce, I can get affirmation. I don't want respect. I want to be acknowledged. And this is why you had as bad as I hate to say this, this is why you never had a problem getting an Amos and Andy or a Hattie McDaniels. Black folk never had a problem playing jigaboom roles because at least it was affirmation. And guess what? White folks still have no problem today getting black folk to do the same thing. Am I wrong? Take a look at the whole rap music industry as it exists today. That ain't nothing but a coon factory. But as long as I can be acknowledged, never will forget seeing Ja Rule, who, as I understand, we all know he sold out his soul to Iggy Azalea along with the rest of the jigaboons. We understand. But never forget that thing on MTV where Ja Rule was sitting there in that room. It's a room full of white men, and they were telling him about the Jaguar. They were going to give him a custom Jaguar. He can choose whatever trim he wanted. He can choose whatever accessories he wanted. It was going to be a custom Jaguar. He was sitting there smiling, big cheesing. And he didn't even look around to see that, by the way, don't you realize you're in a room full of middle-aged and older white men? Don't you feel like the chicken sitting in the wolf's den? Don't you feel like that? And the answer is no. And where's Ja Rule today? Where is he today after doing all that? It's all about me. Where are they? It's not about respect. He did that because as far as he's concerned and going to jail and everything, that it was all worth it as long as he got acknowledged. That's all they really wanted. Black people are looking for approval on white terms. Can I just say it like that? Can I just tell you all the truth that black people are desperate for approval, but on white terms, not our own? Because we're looking for their approval, not their respect. You see, respect is something that you get if somebody don't like you. You don't have to be liked to get respect. The Arabs have white folks respect. You know why? Because they dropped 4 planes on them. Oh, that was hella politically incorrect, what I just said. Arabs got white folks respect because they dropped 4 planes on them.
That's the truth.
They dropped 4 planes.
It's like we don't.
And black folk don't have their respect because we haven't shown them that our lives are worth anything. Nobody's going to respect your life, your property, your kids more than you do. And we don't understand that. Nobody is going to respect us for being black if we don't respect being black. Blackness only has as much value as you say it does. Rap music was created on the strength of saying we're black. And now that we've lost respect for being black, now you've got interlopers coming in. Because you lost it. You don't respect it, so it's valueless. It's worthless. And now they're just trampling all over it. Got Negroes out here talking about Eminem and Iggy Azalea. We're sitting up here doing everything we can to boost them. Them folk ain't said nothing about Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Mike Brown. They're not saying anything against white supremacy. You got Ja Rule and T.I. talking up Iggy Azalea. She ain't talking up black folk. With her super moist, skinny jeans wearing limp-wristed so-called black boyfriend, who he doesn't even look like he likes females. By the way. Oh, I'm sorry, I ain't supposed to say that, am I? He doesn't even look like he likes females, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there. You don't see her or any of these other white so-called rappers saying anything against white supremacy, saying anything against the police department. Eminem will sit up here and talk about raping his mama and every damn thing else, and I'll set fire to things, and I'm a maniac and crazy at the club. You ain't heard him say a word about the New York Police Department. He talked against gays. He's talked against black women. Haven't seen the feminists come out against him either, by the way. The black feminists won't touch him. They know who their daddy is. But in any case, you haven't heard Eminem say nothing greasy about the New York Police Department. Well, we finally found something that Slim Shady is scared of, ain't we? And he's not scared of them. He's on their team. And he is not going to betray his team for you. And you can tell yourself that he's with you all you want to. But he's showing you his ass. I don't expect most black folk to get it. I expect Negroes to keep kissing Iggy Azalea's butt. I expect them to keep doing that because we as a people do not value blackness, and she knows it. Everybody can see it.
But that's the thing about it with the hip hop. It's like, how come people get mad at Iggy Azalea, which I'm not faulting them for, but it's like you give Eminem, all these other white male rappers a pass. But you want to get at one. I mean, don't get at one, get at all of them. That's how I'm like. Call Eminem out, call MC Search, call Iggy Azalea. I don't care if they would really get the add to the culture, but yeah, but this is our culture. You come on our terms.
That's what you have us for. Everybody out there, if you're wondering where it is, that's what you have us for. We're thousands strong right now, but every tidal wave begins with a crack in the ocean surface, on the ocean floor. There's a crack on the ocean floor, and that crack keeps going down. That crack keeps moving down until finally it hits the shelf, and then the shelf starts to slide. And once that shelf starts to slide, that's going to be the force that cranks this thing up. But if you don't crack that surface, nothing else happens. But brother, you talking about the media and stuff, man, we are the media. We are the black media. We're it. We're it. Don't expect Ebony or Jet to say anything. They're hoping for a white company to buy them. Don't expect your black celebrities to do anything. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. They're not going to do that.
And it's like they're bitching and complaining about like Hollywood not giving them any movies and stuff, but they had the finances and the resources to do it themselves. But you're still waiting on that white acceptance and that white check. That's all they want.
No.
That's all they want. That's all.
That's a game. Oh, I'm so tired of that. That is a game. Brother, that is a game. Black folks sit in Hollywood and talk about they don't have money for movies. Tyler Perry did plays on thousands of dollars. Negroes with millions of dollars talking about they don't have enough money. That's not what it is, brother. What it is number one, they're just as employee-minded as every other black person is. Number two, they're not trying to do anything. Danny Glover is not trying to make a movie about the Haitian Revolution. Negroes are passing around a meme acting as if Danny Glover is out actively campaigning for that, and he is not. He never has, and he isn't now. He mentioned it a couple of times, and that's it. But even if you want to go there, even if you want to go down that road, the bottom line and the truth of it is Danny Glover is not trying to make a movie. At best, he's trying to shame the white studios and say that they haven't given him money to do this, that, and the other. But he's not trying to make a movie. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. He's not. None of them are. For two reasons. Number one, they are not trying to bite the hand that feeds them. And number two, they don't know how to make that kind of movie. Black people are totally divorced from any type of comprehensive knowledge of our culture, of our cultural accomplishments. The Haitian Revolution was a black cultural accomplishment. No revolution had been won like that before. Not where slaves rose up like that and completely drove their oppressors off the damn land. We didn't just run them out of town, you ran them out the whole damn place. Never happened before. Never happened before. And we as black people, how many black folk even know about the attire, the housing, the utensils, the tools, the language? How many of us know about that? Hell, y'all know more about the weaponry on Game of Thrones than you know about the weaponry of Dada Bookman and Toussaint Louverture. Whoa, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that, was I? But black folk know more about a United States Western than we know about what the Haitians did in Haiti. And that is because we as a people don't really value that. We don't. We don't. And your black filmmakers, they don't know anything. How is he going to direct a movie about something he knows nothing about? How's he going to do that? That's why they don't bother. I've made this point to you all before. History for us as black people, there's a reason that white folk do not make movies about black people that go back further than America. Have you all ever noticed that? The white studios do not make any movies about black people that go back further than slavery in America. They will go back to slavery in America. They'll go back to that period of slavery and Reconstruction. They will not talk to you. They will not make movies about you. They will not tell stories about you of what you were before you met them.
The only close thing we have to that's like Hidden Colors, but that's more of a documentary. We need like a full film.
I mean, well, we want to put everything on Tariq and say, hey, Tariq, can you be our studio and stuff? And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Tariq wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with that at all. If everybody wants to sit up here and put it on him, that's okay. But go ahead and put it on him then. Stop fooling around and half-stepping. If we're going to fill up 1,000 theaters, let's fill the damn things. If you really want to go in, if you're going to put it all on him, then put it on him. If you're going to leave it up to Jason Black and 7 a.m., then we ought to be selling out 50 theaters, 100. If you're going to do the damn thing, let's do it. The problem I have is that we're not doing it. So we're even screwing up at screwing up. You're not supposed to be putting it all on one person. But if you're going to put it all on one person, then put it on him. We're going to put it on one person. Okay, but we ain't going to show up. What?
They wouldn't want to complain, like, why isn't somebody doing it? But when somebody does do it, we don't fund them. Then we sit up and complain with our lips poked out. Then wonder why people take our images and we have negative images of us on the TV and everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's like that TV show True Blood. I had a bunch of people messaging me about True Blood and they didn't like this. And oh, look how they're making us look on True Blood and whatnot. I'm like, okay, but you're still watching. So you're paying for your HBO. HBO generally costs like what, $16 a month? Across most of the U.S. It's been a while since I worked for them, so. But I mean, I think HBO is generally like between $16 and $19 a month across the U.S. Now, that's 1 month of HBO that you can go see 7 a.m. Or 2 months of HBO you can buy, Hidden Colors on DVD or something like that. But we would rather complain and pay HBO than to get what we say we want and pay a Tariq or a Jason Black. That's what ends up happening. So what we really end up with is realizing that most of us don't actually want this. We have fallen... That comes from that po folks attitude that we identify with our oppression. Not just with our oppressor, but with our oppression. We identify now as the po folks. And we look for ways to exemplify and illustrate and even exaggerate our po folk status. We look for ways to exhibit it. We avoid situations that would remove us or elevate us from our po folk status because we identify ourselves as the po folks. So if we stop complaining about True Blood and do something about it, well, by definition, we've lost our po folk status.
And it's just like we embrace poverty so much. And it's like, ugh. Then it's like we sit around and wonder, like, why are the other non-black kids doing better than us and stuff,
Well, we don't wonder about it. We know.
Why?
We know why they're doing better. We just don't love our children enough to do something about it. Black people do not love their children enough to do something about it. Not the majority of us. We do not love our children enough to slay the dragons. That's why Bull Connor lived to a ripe old age. George Wallace. All these demons lived to ripe old ages. They killed our heroes. MLK, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, locked up Mandela, Huey Newton, Fred Hampton. They slaughtered our heroes. Earl Little, Malcolm X's father. Octavius Cotto. Watch the movie 7 a.m. They killed our heroes. They killed them by the scores. They lynched us by the thousands. They killed our heroes. And the villains who did the killing, they lived to ripe old ages. That was because saving the children was never a goal. Getting into that department store, he told you that was the goal. And we are all going to bum rush that department store. That's what we're here for, to bum rush this damn thing.
Tariq made a good point. He said that black folks have this mentality that when we have kids, we think of when to do right. We don't think of when to do right before we have kids. Like, we don't plan stuff for them. We plan stuff for our children after we have it instead of before. And we wonder why our children are in the predicament that they're in.
Well, that's because most black folk didn't want the children to begin with. The children were a side effect of doing something else. I wanted a welfare check. I got to have kids to get that. I don't have a good enough education to get a real job. I got to get a Section 8 voucher to pay for the roof over my head. I need to have a kid for that. I'm trying to keep this female because my only accomplishment in this world is sex, and if I don't keep her, I'm worthless. I better get her knocked up with a baby. But it's not because we sat down and said, I want to build something in this world, and I want to pass my legacy on to somebody else. I want to build something great, and then I want to pass it on. When was the last time that you heard an older black person say that that was their reason for doing what they're doing? We don't even ask it. We don't even ask it. We don't even hold the parents and grandparents to the standard and hold their feet to the fire to say, tell me why you're doing this. What are you leaving up for me? I issued that challenge here at the Black Channel, and don't you know that only one person was able to come back and give me a good answer on that? I said, go ask your parents what they're building and storing up for you. And everybody comes back with the same thing, man. They ain't building nothing. They told me they ain't passing nothing on. Go ask your parents, James. What are you passing on to me? Because if you are, I need to know.
I know they're not passing on nothing to me, but I told them, I said, the least you guys can do is take up my debt for college. So my mom and dad are going to take up half of my debt. So that's the least you can do. You guys didn't pass nothing down. So y'all can take up at least half of my debt.
Half your debt for college. Now that ensures you no income, ensures you no power, wealth, and influence. In other words, help me gamble. White folk do not make their kids gamble. White people have a sure thing. Asians don't make their kids gamble. Asians make a sure thing. Black people despise their children, and that's why we make our children guess and gamble and worry. Because we despise the children. We hate the children. And that's the real reality of it. We hate the children.
Because the children remind us of who we are, so.
The children remind us of whatever screw up we did to make them. Because there was never a plan to have children. White people are passing on power, wealth, and influence. That's why they have children. Black people have no power, wealth, or influence to pass on. Therefore, the children are an irrelevance. Why have children if you're passing nothing on to them? So by definition, we are procreating without purpose. We are procreating without any cause or reason. Because the purpose of procreation is to pass something on, and we, as we've already acknowledged, we're not passing anything on, so why you got all these damn kids?
Because I'm an extremist. I know it sounds extreme, but I feel like if a person has the ability to keep on bringing a child in this world, and it's shown to society that they're not maintaining that child, I think that ability should go away. I just think that some black men should just be, castrated, and some black women should have their uterus taken out, because you have shown to society that you're just raising dysfunctionality after dysfunctionality. But I know that's a human rights issue, so I know it sounds very extreme, but.
In irrational times, intelligence becomes extremism.
Because you show in the society that you have no inability to produce byproducts that are going to help move the society forward. You show in the society that you're going to bring byproducts which is going to move the society backwards. Because it's like when you argue with a single mother, you tell them most of your kids are going to be bad. Most of your kids commit all these crimes. They do this. They get mad at you. Say, oh no, this is white supremacy. Mama, yeah, you can blame white supremacy, but that's your child. And that's one thing I want to ask you, Jason. And it's like a lot of these black single mothers complain about how black men act and stuff, but you're like, don't you know that most black men are raised by single mothers, but didn't you have the ability to kind of shape them in the way that you wanted to be, what direction you want to lead your son in? So how come you're complaining about your son ended up this way, and it's not your fault? So whose fault is it?
Well,
didn't you raise him? So
generally, what they tell you is he chose it himself. They just remove themselves from the equation of responsibility altogether. Now, you notice I don't do a bunch of stuff that people shouldn't be doing, but you don't hear me trying to take less responsibility. I try to take more. This entire broadcast has been about taking more responsibility, not less. I've been doing this with you all for half a decade to say that we need to take on more responsibility, not less. Beware of the people who tell you about taking less responsibility. We need to build an economy. The clowns out there, making monkey shines with pistols are not building anything. They want less responsibility. We need to build an economy. Man, get on with that old capitalism stuff. Okay, what are you building? We building a revolution. Okay, show me where the revolution is so that I can see the fruits of its labor.
And that's the thing about it. They're not countering, because don't you know that white supremacy has a military? They have high advanced technology that can, like, high-speed cameras like you talked about, like 2 broadcasts ago. They have, like, DNA system. You have nothing to compete against that except for, like, like a small rifle or just, a Glock. They have advanced weaponry. So how are you going to fight advanced weaponry with minuscule weaponry? So come on.
But that's not the point. Their point, their goal, their purpose is not to fight white supremacy. All of those photo ops they're doing with themselves, posting pictures of themselves with guns, those pictures are not for white supremacy's consumption. It's for ours. They're putting up those pictures to show other black folk, don't ask me what I'm doing. Take a look at me. I'm ready for the revolution. I'm ready if Darren Wilson rolls up on me.
But that's what makes me mad. It's like, why don't you do anything when they do something to us? Why don't you retaliate back? You just let them walk into our communities, but you guys are nowhere to defend us, and then we have the situation we have now.
But that's because it's for our consumption. They want to be able to walk among us and say, hey, don't ask me to do nothing. I got my guns. I'm ready. I got my guns and I'm ready. That's what I did to respond to the murder of Eric Garner and Mike Brown. I got my guns. So you see, if it happened again right now, right this moment, I'd be okay. And knowing full damn well they wouldn't do a damn thing. If Darren Wilson walked up today and pointed the gun at one of them, they wouldn't do anything. Nothing at all. Those pictures are for your consumption. Those pictures are so that you will not judge them. Those pictures are so that they can escape responsibility for what's happening. Those pictures are not for white supremacy. Those pictures are not for Bob McCullough, the FBI. It's not for them. It's never been about them. It's always been about us sitting in this pathetic little circle of po folks, trying to bolster our bludgeoned, beaten up ego, because we know that the time to do something about Daniel Pantaleo was back in August, back in July, back in June. That was the time to take care of the Darren Wilsons and Daniel Pantaleos. We're sitting up here trying to get our respect after we got knocked out. We're trying to regain our respect after we got beat up. Like a boxer who got knocked out. We want to get our respect after we got the hell beat out of us. It doesn't work that way. So we're just going to strike a pose with our little guns until people give us respect for that.
And try to beg our way to respect.
And we're trying to shame each other into getting affirmation. Like I said before, it's not even about respect, really. It's just we're trying to shame each other. We're not even concerned about what the enemy is doing. Long as we can play this game on each other and pull the wool over on each other, we're fine. Who cares what Darren Wilson is doing? Who cares? I'll let you have the last word.
It's like, I know next year is going to be 150 years out of slavery, but we have nothing to celebrate. So I will be mad next year if people start celebrating. Black first, brother.
Black first, brother. They will be celebrating, that's for certain. They're going to be breaking their arms, patting themselves on the back. We're going to be talking about reparations we can't get. We're going to be talking about revolutions we can't initiate. We're going to be talking about reprisals and retribution that we can't execute. As long as we're making a gesture, we're okay. Caller from 718, you're on live with the Black Channel. I think caller from 718 went straight to sleep.
Hey, how are you? I actually was listening in. I don't know why I didn't press 1.
I don't know why you didn't press it either.
No, what I'm...
That's odd. We're going to hold a class on proper blog talk etiquette. Caller from 919, you're on live with the Black Channel. Wow, did you really just sit here and hum into the phone, dude? Seriously? I ought to give his number out for public consumption. I'm not going to do that because you all might call him and he might start trying to talk to you as a friend. Hey, I don't get many folk calling me. My name is Tony. What's yours? No, brothers and sisters from around the world. All of this grandstanding and making all these gestures, that's not what we need. We've never needed that. And I want you to stop accepting that. Now, I don't have the ability to change the world single-handedly. It's a good thing that no human being by themselves has the ability to single-handedly overturn things. That's a good thing. But there's no reason for us to be in the situation that we're in, giving respect and accolades to people who haven't earned it. I have spent, and I think you'll all be proud, that with 7 a.m., you know, we spent, I mean, I've got sales reps. We got radio stations that at least, you know, are aimed towards the black community. I've tried to deal with black sales agents at the radio stations, black sales agents at the TV stations, black sales agents for billboards and stuff like that. I mean, they get their commissions and whatnot. I have been practicing group economics. I've been doing that with the execution of 7 a.m. Haven't been able to do it 100% because we don't own anything like that. But where I have been able to, I've made it a priority of doing that. With the flyers and the posters and things like that, I've made sure that I've gone to black printers to get those done. For the 7 a.m. shirts and whatnot, we made sure we had black printers to take care of that. So you can say whatever you want to. I can show you where we've been practicing this and where we've been doing that. I can demonstrate it to you. I can demonstrate to you where the bad guys are on TV advertising. Well, I'm on TV advertising. I can show you where that's happened. I can show you. Now, these other folk can't show you. These other people can't show you at all. But I can. And we can. Because we're intelligent black society. So we can show you where we've done this. The folks out there striking a pose with their pump action shotguns, they can't show you where they're actually moving anything other than a picture to a social media timeline. And I want to say my next words to you directly. I want to say that in the 21st century, there's no room for cowards anymore. There's no room for folks who want to try to get attention for themselves. The age of the attention whore in black society is drawing to a close. And you Negroes who are out here calling yourselves black feminists, calling yourselves Hotep heroes, calling yourselves black militant motor mouths, pretending that you're going to take some type of aggressive physical action when you ain't going to do a damn thing except post up a picture and then tell people that we ought to be doing X, Y, Z, and yet you haven't taken up a post. You're not patrolling the streets of New York. You're not patrolling the streets of Dallas. You're not patrolling the streets of anywhere. The police are running roughshod. The police are running rampage. And you're not lifting a finger over it. And you won't. You never will. You never did. It's not coming. And guess what? The bad guys know it. They know you're nothing but a bunch of attention whores on Facebook. You don't scare them. You don't worry them. That's why they're letting you do this. Malcolm X got into the window of his house with an AK-47. Well, it's not an AK-47 exactly, but you get the idea. He got in the window of his house with his carbine. And not long thereafter, he was dead. He got in the window of his house with his gun, and not long thereafter, he was dead. Because they knew he was serious. Huey Newton and the Black Panthers were out looking for police who were going to attempt police brutality. And that's why they started killing the Panthers, because they were serious. You Negroes, who in the hell ever heard of a revolution that was posting itself on Facebook? And by the way, ask some of these folks posing with their guns. I want some of y'all to ask them, so what's the next move? What are we gonna do now? Tell us the time and the place that we're gonna make our next move. You don't have to tell me on Twitter. You don't have to tell me on Facebook. Send me an email. Tell me where we're making the next move at. But y'all ain't gonna tell anybody that, because there is no next move. You charlatans and con men with your little pawn shop pistols ain't going nowhere and ain't doing nothing. You've got your reward. Attention on Facebook, attention on YouTube, attention on Instagram. That's what you came for. Just like the civil rights generation. I came to shop. Well, you just came to be seen. Well, there's some of us who'll be doing it in the real world. And we are actually already on the streets in New York. We're on the streets in Harlem. We're on the streets in Brooklyn. We're on the ground in LA and in Dallas and in Atlanta and in Baltimore, St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, DC, Oakland. We're on the ground. We're doing that. You aren't. Because you see, we understand that we're not going to change a damn thing on Facebook. We're not going to change a damn thing posting up pictures on Instagram. That's not going to change nothing. You want to deal with Daniel Pantaleo, you got to walk the streets. And you've got to post up at where you are and say to people that this is what we need to do, that we were victims of being poor. And we got to walk the streets where he is and say, we are building an economy right here, Prosecutor Dan Donovan. We're going to build it right here. Because we know that to take you on, we need money. So we brought it to you. We are bringing a real revolution, which is going to be an economic revolution, to you, because that's the only thing you fear, Dan Donovan. That's the only thing you're afraid of, is that the day will come that we will bring this to you. Physically on the ground. That the day will come when we can tell your cops, you can't be on this street because we own it. Get out of here now. That's the only thing you fear. The clowns living in their Section 8 housing, posting up pictures on Twitter with guns, that's not scaring Dan Donovan, because they already know your name, your address, your criminal rap sheet, your baby mama. All 3 of them. They're not worried about you because you're not talking about anything that you could actually do. And you're not making a move to actually do it. There is no next step that you get closer to initiating it. So he's not worried. And he shouldn't be. Because he's smarter than that. You don't get it, but he does. And that's why we're taking this around the country like we are. In every city that we're doing this in, let's start building an economic bulwark. Let's just get one shopping center. Let's just get one hardware store. Let's just start somewhere. Let's start somewhere. You got Sweetie Pies, you ought to have 50 of them out there. You got Magic Johnson Theater, we ought to have 1,000 of them. But let's do this here. Because the frauds and the phonies out there posting up with guns they ain't gonna do a damn thing with, and most of them probably don't even work, by the way. You're probably standing there with guns that don't even work. Just thought I'd throw that out there for ya. You'll be sitting here in this time in 10 years with a gun that's got dust over it and needs to be cleaned. Never been used, promising us that you got the plan and the solution. The reason you're standing there with a gun is because you don't know how to build an economy. Because even after the shooting starts, we still need schools, we still need stores, we still need hospitals, we still need everything. You are talking about taking up arms with somebody else's telecommunications system. Somebody else's Walmart, somebody else's car building plant, guns that you didn't make. So you are dependent on the people that you're talking about you're going to fight for the very weapons you're going to fight them with. Because you don't actually intend to fight them, which is why you're doing all this posturing. Welcome to the second civil rights generation of cowards and coons. Only now they got an Instagram and a Twitter account, so we can track their coonery and buffoonery in real time. At least now we have picture documentation of all the things they didn't do. Here I am in my front yard with my gun, and in my backyard with my gun, and with my girlfriend with my gun, and sitting on the hood of my car with my gun. But where the police? Well, the guns were for the police. Did you ever confront the police with them? Sure I did. Why come you don't have a picture of that? We got pictures of you on top of the house, under the house, in the car, on the car, trunk of the car, rear of the car, front yard, backyard, side yard, 50-yard line. We got pictures of you with guns everywhere, except where you said you'd be taking them. You said you were going to take them to confront the police state, and that was the only place you never went. Ask these people what's the next step to confront the police state. Ask them what it is. And then get ready for silence, because it ain't gonna be an answer. The answer is money, not cowards and not liars posting up on the internet. The answer is economics. The answer is financial. The answer is empowerment. If you do not have your tickets to 7 a.m., the advertising is beginning nationally this week. If you're in the major markets, you ought to see something. We're going to be having pictures and things posting up. It's only going to intensify next week. And I want everybody who's involved to see this. If you're listening, if you're tired of people giving you false hopes, if you're tired of people with false starts, if you're tired of people posting up stuff they ain't going to do and things that don't even matter, because our problem is economic. The reason we're victims of the police is because we're poor. Because poor people are victims of police. Because they haven't got nothing to stand up with. We are black and they are victimizing black people because we're poor. So it's both of them. Don't let anybody tell you that they're going after everybody. No, they're not. They're going after us. But they can go after, the reason they hate us because we're black. But they can victimize us because we're poor. They don't hate poor whites. They hate black people for being black. And they wouldn't be able to victimize us if it weren't for the fact we're poor. And they know that when they kick in our doors, roll up on our cars, they can violate our rights, and most of us can't do nothing because you can't afford an attorney and you can't afford retribution. You can't do anything. You have no economy to even serve as a staging ground. He knows you're helpless. Brothers and sisters, drop what you're doing. You wanted to know when things would change. You wanted to know when was the moment, when was the time. Well, I'm drawing that distinction between us and them now. This is the moment. This is the time. If you want to progress and graduate from simply complaining about the issues to doing something about it, this is the time. Now. You and me and us and we. If you haven't been to our website, 7ammovie.com, that's 7ammovie.com. You go there, click on tickets, it'll take you there. You can find a theater near you, but the time for talk is over. Come to the theaters, treat it like what it is, a convention of intelligent black people who understand that economics and entrepreneurship is the answer. Start networking with them. I've provided the places, I provided the venues, I provided the events. There's nothing more that can be done except for you to show up. It's time. No posturing here, 'cause we're the real thing. And the real thing ain't gotta post up selfies. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.